and windy night in Pittsburgh. Wayne Schulters, the starting tailback. Breaks free from the 20, and Schulters, a nice return out to the 39. That's where the Panthers will get it started. Matt Lytle leads them out as we take a look at our starting lineups. As we mentioned, Billy West, Big East Player of the Year 2 years ago, is not starting at tailback. Schulters, who returned the opening kickoff, will. The wide receivers led by Jake Hofer, 15 catches in his last 3 games. And up front, Tony Orlandini is an important player with a lefty quarterback. He's the right tackle, protecting the blind side of the sophomore Lytle. Throws on first down. 14 yards for Jake Hofer, the team's leading receiver out of Yuba City, California. Check the ever-start Boston College starting defense. Nick Giannakakis had a couple of sacks in the Boston College shutout of Pitt last year. They're hurting at linebacker. Brian May, their best player, is out for the season with an elbow injury. Jermaine Monk steps in for him. And Pedro Serino, the safety, a true freshman, an interception, 2 fumble recoveries, and a forced fumble last week.
Mike, I'd probably look for anything early in this game. Hey, how about a reverse?
How about DeMarc Butler with Lytle throwing a block for him?
Talking to the Pittsburgh coaches, they were really saying, we want to get off this game and let it all hang out. We feel this is a team we can compete against. They feel good about their offensive football team, and they really think Matt Lytle will have a big night tonight.
Pick up a 4 on the reverse for Butler. First time he's run the ball this year for Pittsburgh.
Especially when you're facing a defense constructed the way Boston College's is, when they're going to put 8 people up there all night and force you to throw. I think Pitt's going to say, let's do it.
You see Billy West, he's in the backfield with Schulters now. 2 running threats in that backfield. Lytle just before the play clock runs down. Incomplete. Looked like some confusion as John Jones, the tight end, was in the same area as Hofer.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And John Jones was tapping himself on the shoulder pads that time, saying, my fault. And Pitt has gone to a script for their opening plays. It's not something they used early in the season, but they felt they were making so many mistakes early in the game for nerves or for whatever. They've decided to script their early plays in this football game, and you can see they've scripted, pretty wildly early already in this football game with the reverse coming right out of the box.
They will use the shotgun a lot, especially in the obvious passing downs like this 3rd and 6. Lytle for West, and West can't hang on. A flag is down just behind the line. And it's a hold against the Panthers.
Pitt Panthers have a very young football team, and their youngest right there, number 57, the middle of your screen, is going to grab a hold of a guy, and you're going to get called. A true freshman football player playing right there. Brian Meinhardt is the guy who got called, and they found the freshman already, Mike.
Yes.
How does that always happen?
Very easily. It's not tough with this Pitt team. They play a lot of young players. Nate Cochran, one of the best things about this Pittsburgh team is their punter. Kiernan Spate is back to receive. He's the defensive back. Kenyatta Watson is not on the trip for the Eagles. Spate gets out of the way, and it's a touchback, so BC will take over at their own 20. As we mentioned in the opening, maybe you saw him on the weekend kickoff show, Matt Hasselbeck, the junior out of Norfolk, Mass, leads the BC Eagles. It's a 1-back offense. Omari Walker, the lion's share of the carries. He's second in the Big East to Amos Zaraway in rushing. They'll use 2 tight ends and 3 different wide receivers. Dennis Harding has the most catches. Up front, their 2 seniors on the tackles, Alford and Ariskovich, have played the best football. This is a big night for the senior Dan Ariskovich. He's from Swickley, Pennsylvania. That's right in the neighborhood here. So he's playing in front of some family and friends. Get used to that. You will see a lot of motion from Dan Henning's offense. They try Walker up the gut the first time, 7 yards for the junior halfback out of Massachusetts. Here's that Pittsburgh defense. Up front, Trey McCray, another one of those true freshmen, getting his first collegiate start tonight. Curtis McGee was a strong safety. He's 5'10", 180 at a linebacker spot. And watch number 34, E.C. Barutsis. He's playing cornerback for the first time in his Pitt career. Both corners are out with injuries, both starting corners. They gave him 7, so on 2nd and 3, just a couple of yards for Walker. Ernest Coakley in there, but also a penalty marker as well.
Yeah, Roderick Humphrey that time, the inside linebacker, just got tossed and turned and thrown on that play. And if they didn't see that one, I could see it from up here. You got a face mask on the end of the call also, it looks like.
Buddy Ward leading the Big East crew.
Face mask, incidental face mask, 5 yards from the end of the run, first down.
Damian Woody is the center right there. Watch number 51, right in the middle of your screen. He's going to get a takedown, now a pull down. That is a nice pull down right there in the middle of your screen. That does it. Hit him, pull him down, no call.
And they caught Coakley's left hand on Walker's face mask. Incidental, so only 5 yards. So from the 35, the Eagles will work, and Hasselbeck to the air for the first time. Dennis Harding picks up 7 yards. The sophomore out of Baltimore, Maryland. Harding with 27 receptions on the year, throwing on Rashad Whitmill, one of the starting cornerbacks.
Matt Hasselbeck hitting 54% of his passes. You know, the key fact for Matt Hasselbeck watching him play is he moves around well in the pocket. They have a lot of tight ends that play in. They keep their backs in. Why do you have 39 sacks? You talk to Dan Henning, he says, every reason possible. Holding the ball too long, missed assignments, everything.
On 2nd and 3, Walker. And Omari Walker should have a first down right about the 45-yard line. Barutsis and Seth Hornack as well in to make the tackle for Pittsburgh. Here you get a look at Dan Henning, 15, 16, and 1 in his Boston College career. Came here after a stint as the Detroit Lions offensive coordinator. Of course, an NFL head coach, 4 years in Atlanta with the Falcons, 3 years for the San Diego Chargers. BC's picked up a couple of first downs in their opening drive. Just 3 minutes in, first quarter, no score on Halloween night in Pittsburgh. Walker again for a couple of yards. Good play up front by DeMond Gibson, a true freshman from right here in the Pittsburgh area. At 6'4", 300 pounds, he's one of the bigger players on the Pittsburgh defensive front.
How about DeMond yesterday? We saw him in the weight room. Yeah, that's right. The day before the game, and you know, he just wasn't walking around, Mike. He was in there. He was lifting. That's surprising. Usually a guy day before, you know, just kind of going through the motions, but he was going hot and hard in there, and I think the short week had a lot to do with that.
Both teams have had an equally short week. Each played on Saturday. Each lost on Saturday. 3 receivers in the pattern for Hasselbeck. Incomplete, intended for Todd Pollock, the best catcher of the 5, 6, 28 tight ends we see tonight.
You know, if you're going to call a game for Boston College, if you take Walker as the running back, if anybody carries the ball, it'd be a good guess he's going to get it. And just pick a tight end. You got a good chance he's throwing it to a tight end. It's really been the MO of a Dan Henning offense wherever he has been. Washington, the Lions, San Diego, he has utilized a lot of different formations utilizing the tight end.
Pollock in motion on 3rd and 7. They need to get to the Panther 45. Stays into block as Hasselbeck looks. Incomplete. Nice play defensively by John Jenkins. The free safety stepped in to knock it away. 4th down as DeCosmo couldn't come up with the Hasselbeck pass.
And John Jenkins is the safety in that situation, and usually he's going to be in the middle of the field, but in this case, they rolled him to the outside of this thing. And when Hasselbeck throws, you can see Jenkins right there. He's going to break on the ball. Does a very nice job of reading the quarterback's eyes and seeing the ball delivered before it actually was delivered. And that's what all the good defensive backs do.
Jason Malecki, 3rd in the Big East in punting. With John Jenkins back, Pitt comes after it. They send 10. Jenkins does have some room after the line drive. And an 11-yard return penalty marker on the play after the 37-yard punt.
Brought down by number 24, Rupert English.
So we'll check the hanky as Rupert English, the linebacker, came in for the stop on special teams for the Eagles. And as always, once for every other punt, to legal use of the hand.
You're learning fast out here.
I watch you guys every Saturday. I'm not just falling asleep back there.
Near the 10-yard line on the front far side.
Illegal block in the back on the return. 10-yard penalty, first down.
So the Pittsburgh drive will start from inside their own 20. Jason and a lot of others here on Halloween night. No score.
Save some hot water. Too late! Honey, turn up the heat.
It is up. Please let it be him. Let it be him. Please let it be him.
The gas-fueled complete heat system from Lennox.
It's him.
Virtually unlimited hot water and comfortable home heating in one unit. And it runs on economical natural gas, so it's super efficient.
Yes! The Lennox complete heat system. Not just heat, complete heat.
Clean natural gas. Think what you'll save.
The choice between a sedan and a wagon used to be quite simple. You choose the sedan if you wanted style, the wagon if you wanted more room. That is until Mercury came up with the stylish Sable wagon and the roomy Sable sedan. So to make the choice a little easier for you, we gave them both the same affordable price. Problem solved.
It starts here. And it starts here. And it even starts here. Because it all starts here at Walmart, home of the EverStart battery. A powerful new battery that you can count on to start when you need it to. And since it's at Walmart, you can also count on a good price. EverStart. The name says it all.
7 p.m.
ESPN's presentation of college football is brought to you by Lincoln Mercury and the complete line of 1996 Lincoln and Mercury automobiles. And by Prestone Antifreeze. It's your car. Protect your car in the Prestone Zone.
The Monongahela, the Allegheny meet and form the Ohio. We're just inside the confluence of those three rivers. Pitt Stadium on the Pittsburgh campus. It was free admission for the first 5,000 costumed folks here tonight. I guess if you were a Pitt fan, that served as a costume.
That counts. That counts. You're right.
After the penalty, Panthers' second possession, starting from their own 16. Schulters snaked through for about 3 yards. Nick Giannakakis got a hand on the ankles of the junior college transfer out of Brooklyn, New York.
We missed Dwayne in Ohio State, or did Dwayne miss a good game to miss? You know, he had an ankle problem earlier in the year. He's coming on now, as you can see, averaging 5.7 yards. And that's really why I think he's in there. Billy West has not been able to give this Pitt team the big play that he used to have. I wonder if those problems from a year ago are still bothering him.
After the gain of 3, Hofert in motion for the 2nd and 7. Lytle, the lefty. Nice catch by Hofert with room. Jake Hofert all the way up to midfield, a 31-yard pickup.
Well, you see what Matt Lytle brings to this football team. He's a good athlete. They're going to do a lot of different things with him in the pocket. This time, it's a bootleg action. Actually, it's a naked. There's not one guy pulling this time. Hofert is going to come from the right side of your screen. And one thing you can see the improvement in Lytle is he now has a bit more touch than what we saw early in the year when he was just trying to throw a strike on every pitch. And that works for him because he was a baseball pitcher.
And highly ranked, as a matter of fact, ranked in the top 50 coming out of high school by Baseball America. First down into BC territory. Here is Schulters. Good quickness and shiftiness. Rep 5, Toll-Free, and Rupert English, 26 and 24, respectively, in on the Eagle tackle.
If there's a game plan for running the football against this 8-man front, we talked to Ken Karcher yesterday, the offensive coordinator. He said we would like to run off tackle to the tight end. That's where we feel we should attack this defense. So far, in between a lot of the wide open plays, that's where they have run the ball.
Pittsburgh hasn't moved the ball that bad thus far. 59 yards thus far. Some jumping and a whistle. And Gary, it's confusing at times when you watch BC play defensively. So much jumping and moving on their front line.
And they really have to. They've moved a lot of people around because of lack of size. They're going to keep moving them and stunning them and try to shut off that running game. That has been the goal for Phil Amazian, the new defensive coordinator this year. Stop the run. What he said is we've had to commit a little bit more to stopping the run than we'd hoped, and that made us a little more susceptible to the pass.
Phil Amazian was the Virginia Tech defensive coordinator a couple of years ago.
And they're running the same defense.
On the defense, 5 yards, first down.
Pitt played Virginia Tech last week. Is that an advantage here this week for them?
Absolutely, and I think that's a great point to bring out. It's the same defense that they faced, and in a short week, getting ready for two different defenses would be tough. They basically have the same game plan.
Drive started back inside their own 20. Panthers at the Eagle 39. They'll lose yardage. His shoulders is racked up by Ryan Reckley and Stalin Collinet. Collinet, the senior out of the Bronx, and one thing they do have on this defense is size inside.
Well, Collinet is 260 pounds, and that's really not for a defensive tackle, a big-size defensive tackle. He was a defensive end last year. Now, size 6'6", but not a lot of jump shots in this game. We're going to be keeping it low to the ground right here. And Collinet is going to move a lot, and that's what he does well. Both the two defensive tackles move well.
One of the reasons he moved him in is they didn't have bigger people to put at those tackle spots. West in motion. Lytle's a good runner, but can't escape Collinet again at the 40-yard line. So two back-to-back nice plays for the senior.
Collinet is the third leading tackler on this football team. He had 10 tackles against Michigan in his best football game. He just pulled Meinhardt that time, the freshman guard, engaged him, yanked him towards him, went around and gets the sack. And, you know, that is the type of play when you're playing against a young football player you can take advantage of.
When he was teamed with Mike Mamula, Collinet was on one end, Mamula, now the Philadelphia Eagles on the other end, and BC had a good pass rush in '94. 3rd and 11. Panthers need to get to the 29. And flags are down. A little movement on the Panthers side.
Yeah, John, when you talk to all of the coaches at Pitt, they say the problem with their football team is, yes, we're a bit undermanned, but we are making a myriad of mistakes. So many mistakes, unforced errors have been killing this football team. And there it is. Johnny Majors very upset about that. He says, we'll play hard, but we're just not playing very smart, and that upsets him more than anything. You talk to every coach on the staff, they said, we've been testing our kids, we've been emphasizing techniques, and they still are making simple mistakes and really killing themselves.
They're putting themselves in holes like this. 3rd and 17. Lytle sends 4 in the pattern. First down, Hofer. Jake Hofer fumbled the football, and Butler nearly had it, but it goes out of bounds, so it will stay with the Panthers, and they'll pick up the first down. And a couple of players shaken up after that collision. One of them, Hofer, the other, Kiernan Spade.
So there's about 3 things you can look at and why there was a successful play here. One was pass protection that time. 3rd and very long. Hofer has time to go downfield about 15 yards and cut across wide open in the middle of this football field. Gets popped on the end of it. The ball comes loose, and now 2 Pitt players touch this ball. If one more would have touched it, they would have had the first down because they kept knocking it backwards.
They did pick up 25 yards on 3rd and 17. Shalom Tollfree, 26, the player who made the hit to knock it out of bounds. He's not one of the injured players. It is Hofer and Spade who are down. We'll check the injuries when we come back. Pittsburgh trying to move the ball on Boston College midway through the first.
Introducing the Mercury Mountaineer. With available all-wheel drive, standard V8 power, and the kind of comfort you'd expect only in a Mercury. It's the perfect go-anywhere, do-anything vehicle, even if all you're doing is just running out for a few groceries. The 1997 Mercury Mountaineer.
Aluminum. Most new car radiators are made of it, making them a big target for pitting and failure. But Prestone antifreeze bonds with aluminum, forming the Prestone zone of protection against corrosion. This winter, protect your car in the Prestone zone.
It starts with a full quarter pound of beef, with fresh toppings, our chef sauce, on a bakery soft roll. McDonald's Arch Deluxe. If it were any more grown up, we'd need to check your ID. It's McDonald's with a grown-up taste.
Time management entails prioritizing, synergizing, reorganizing,
Earth to business guru. This is difficult. Well, at least Office Max, the office product superstore, is easy. Over 6,000 office products, including quality brand names like Fellows paper shredders and Packard Bell computers. At guaranteed low prices that won't make that vein on your accountant's forehead bulge. Free delivery, too. Talk about time management. Office Max, we go to the max for you.
The Noles head to Atlanta. Florida State, Georgia Tech at 7. Saturday primetime. This week on ESPN.
No college game day is not on the road here at Pitt Stadium tonight. Panthers moving the ball here in a scoreless first quarter on Halloween. They did pick up the first down after the fumble. Both Holford and Spate were helped off the field. Leon Murray checked in replacing Holford as the Panthers mount a nice drive here. Passing formation for Lytle. And he fired in the direction of Mark Butler. Incomplete.
Mark Lytle checked to that play that time and really threw it to the wrong side of the field. He had a hitch route with both of his receivers that time and chose the wrong one. He wanted to go to the short side of the field, but had a dropping in right in there and was forced to throw the ball away. The opposite side of the field, that receiver had single coverage and he was wide open.
They'll go into the shotgun for this, the 8th play of the drive. Billy West. That's the second time that West has dropped one. He only has 2 receptions this year, so he's not a pass receiving threat out of the backfield.
No, in fact, the scouting report on Billy West was one of the reasons that Pitt tried early the option offense and went away from it was they did not feel confident in Billy West's hands. Now they have him at fullback and they're throwing the ball downfield to him. A little more difficult to catch a thrown pass than it is to catch a pitch. And right now Billy West is struggling with the ball in the air.
As a matter of fact, in 32 games, he's caught just 12 passes in his Pitt career. 3rd and 10. John Jones gets the first down all the way down to the 8-yard line, and at a flag as well as Darryl Potter brought down the tight end after a 20-yard pickup.
Mike, Billy West struggled with those 2 pass completions, dropping the ball both times, but came back big this time and helped this play with a nice block as a running back. Here's Billy West right there at the center of your screen. He takes on the linebacker, does a good job of clearing the lane for Lytle, and that allowed an easy pass to the big tight end Jones that time, and you can see the face mask right on the end of the play there. This offense looks like they're confident throwing the ball, and really that's the game plan coming in. Run wide and throw the ball.
The flag on Darryl Porter moves it half the distance to the goal, so inside the 5, West and Schulters. This is Schulters. Knocked down to the 2, Ryan Reckley, who West made the nice block on the 3rd down completion for Johnny Major's team. This time Reckley comes in and makes the stop.
Reckley is not a big football player. Goes about 200 pounds, subbing in for Brian May. Actually, the signal caller for this defense also. That's another big loss for the Boston College defense.
Pittsburgh has gotten the job done when in the red zone, or as they call it, the blue zone. 2nd and goal. The pitch to Schulters. Touchdown! Nice-looking drive out of the Panthers. They move down the field and put the first points on the board.
One of the nice things you like to see in college football is the guy who's willing to play when he's not getting the ball. It's Billy West right here as a fullback. He's going to come out and kick out to the outside. Schulters is going to come right off his block and take it right into the end zone that time. When you can get a guy who's used to having the ball, remember, the Big East Offensive Player of the Year, who comes back and does a job like that, you feel good about it, Billy West.
He took care of Markel Blunt there. Chris Forensic adds the extra point. He's 19 of 19 this year. The blocking of Billy West lets Wayne Schulters put Pitt on top.
It's Woodson's All-Star Grill. For good food. For good times. And good fans. It's Woodson's All-Star Grill.
At Woodson All-Star Grill, you never know who you're going to meet.
Woodson's All-Star Grill, Station Square, South Side.
I'm Bill Ravati, and I'm running for Congress to represent working and middle-class families. While Bill COYNE built a $2 million taxpayer-funded pension, he voted for trade deals like GATT and WTO that exported your jobs overseas. Bill COYNE failed our community by letting HUD bureaucrats make a mockery of the middle class by purchasing $100,000 homes for public housing residents. I'll go to Washington to fight for American jobs, lower your taxes, and stand up for traditional Pittsburgh neighborhood values. It's time for a fresh face with new ideas and sound solutions.
Manager for Ohio State. This is where I give out Buckeye leaves every Tuesday. Each coach has his own criteria. You sack a quarterback, Buckeye. You stick a wide receiver, Buckeye. You run over someone's face for a TD, Buckeye. You shoot a commercial, you get nothing. You hit an opposing player with that camera, Buckeye.
Well, we found number 20. Just have to look a couple of yards ahead of where he normally lines up for Pittsburgh, and he's made a nice adjustment.
I hope he has a VCR at home so he can see how we've been pointing out those plays for 20.
Great drive for the Panthers. Nearly 5 minutes. They move 84 yards, picked up a couple of third and long.
Yeah, on 3rd and 11, they got 18 yards, and 3rd and 10, they got 19 yards. And that's what sometimes a lot of people question about that 8-man front defense. How well can you play against the pass defense? And that's really been the struggle for the BCD right now, is can they stop the pass?
Now, on the extra point, Dan Henning's team was flagged for too many men on the field.
I don't think he agrees with that.
No.
He has been, the whole commercial time there, yelling that they only had 11. And remember, they got people that take pictures up in the box. So, of course, we've got cameras, too. We probably can.
We can help him out. Now, Chris Burnett is going to come on and kick. He does not normally kick off. Just keep that in mind. Thinking about an onside. Nope, Burnett will bang it straight back to the end zone, but not all the way back. Still, Cedric Washington decides to put a knee down, and BC will take over from their own 20. Well, coming up on ESPN2 on Saturday, we have a doubleheader for you. Starting in the Big Ten, Minnesota goes to Columbus to take on Demetrius Stanley and the second-ranked Buckeyes. Then we'll take you down to Jordan-Hare. Arkansas comes to the Plains to take on Damian Craig and the Auburn Tigers. Arkansas-Auburn, second end for the doubleheader on the Deuce. That's Saturday. And we'll have a triple-header on ESPN, so a big college football weekend for the first Saturday in November. Eagles drive starts from the 20. And Hasselbeck looks up top. Omari Walker can't hang on. Got to be careful there. Just a yard ahead. It was not a lateral. You look at Omari Walker, 17 receptions this year for the Eagles, so he is a little more of a threat coming out of the backfield than the Pittsburgh halfbacks are.
Well, the Pittsburgh halfbacks, usually one of them playing a very deep tailback, and they're basically running the ball. And then when Billy West is trying to come out of the backfield, so far he has not been able to find the ball.
Second and 10 from the 20. Hasselbeck on the draw. And Walker is tied up still. Drags Damon Gibson for another yard. He's third and about 6 for the Eagles.
When you have a tight end formations like DC runs, you're asking your tight ends to basically be fullbacks. This time Pollock is going to lead through on a counter trade type action, and he's really a glorified fullback. You recruit a lot of tight ends, you play them, but it's really the same position.
3rd and 6. The Eagles have not done a great job on third down. Pitt brings a lot of people. The pass is high. And incomplete, intended for the redshirt freshman Cosmo. Nice Sarabo. Let's check in with Dr. Jerry Puck.
Guys, we haven't seen Pitt freshman defensive lineman Trey McCray tonight. There's a good reason for that. Trey has chronic asthma. During the pregame warm-ups, he had an asthma attack, was taken back in the locker room, treated twice with a nebulizer inhaler, we should say. It didn't break. They put him in an ambulance a moment ago and took him to a nearby hospital to go get IV medication. Why asthma? Well, on a cold night like tonight, the cold weather can cause spasm of the bronchial tube, and that precipitates the asthma attack.
Winter and cold weather for people who have asthma is really tough. Schulters, 6-7 yards. He carries Eric Storrs, the defensive tackle, into the secondary. Jerry, we saw Jake Hofer go out after that third down completion earlier. How's he doing?
Well, in football terms, Michael, he got his bell rung. Basically, a little bit woozy, came to the sidelines, and they said he should be okay, other than being a little bit groggy. And he took quite a lick over there when he fumbled the football, and he hit the turf. And this turf is pretty hard here at Pitt Stadium. It's because it's cold. And
actually, Gary, it'll be the first trivia question for that I've ever been the answer to.
That you'll be the first man ever to kick off a new network and do a play-by-play game on Halloween in the same 2 days?
I think endure a game with you is more accurate. BC taking a timeout as they came out for their third series starting from within their own 20. The Eagles trail 7-0. We'll be right back.
Would a man attack the peak of K2 if a remarkably soft pair of pants were placed there? Would a man tread the lip of a volcano for pants that were... And would, if he were a fool, because he could go to the store and say, yes, I'd like to try on the ultimate pant, new by Hager. Besides, your wife won't let you go to the Sahara anyway.
Hi, got your pizza.
I didn't order a pizza.
You didn't order a pizzeria stuffed crust pizza?
Sure didn't.
Bake fresh every day. Not too thick, not too thin. Just like pizzeria pizza. Mmm, tasty sauce and ring of cheese that's baked into the crust. It's just $8.99 for a large, but...
Oh, yeah, that's ours. Thanks a lot.
Discover Pizzeria Stuffed Crust Pizza.
Hi, got your pizza.
Jerry are on the sidelines with us here in Pittsburgh tonight. I guess not really dressed up for Halloween. The cigar does not count as a costume.
No. Well, it gets you in free, though.
The first 5,000 fans in free tonight at Pitt Stadium. Those 5,000 fans in costume for Halloween. BC starting from its own 18. Omari Walker. Nice run for Walker. 17 yards as he carries defenders into the secondary. John Jenkins finally had to come up from the free safety spot.
Mike, when we were talking to defensive coordinator Chuck Griesbach, he said that we have had problems because we changed a lot this football season. You know, when you're having problems and teams are scoring 72 points against you, you try new things. Pitt is now starting to go back to their defense that they used prior, and they're just starting to get the feel of it again.
First down for the Panthers. Walker again. About 5 yards for Omari. Second in the Big East. His 679 yards behind only West Virginia's Amos Zaroe. 42 yards thus far for Walker. And you see last season, he had one of the touchdowns. His backup, Mike Cloud, had the other rushing touchdown as BC shut out Pittsburgh 17-0. Game played up on Chestnut Hill in Newton. Back comes sideline for Dennis Harding, who makes a nice move. And Dennis Harding gets it across midfield, and it's a first down after the 10-yard pickup to the sophomore out of Baltimore.
Yeah, and that time he beat E.C. Varoutzis. And there's another problem when you start looking at this defense for Pitt. Varoutzis is playing for Curtis Anderson, who was a wide receiver at the beginning of the season. Anderson got hurt last week. Varoutzis played safety all year. He does not have great speed, maybe a 4.8 guy, but he's out there because they don't have anybody else.
Chuck Brown, the other starting cornerback, was injured in pregame warm-ups last week at Virginia Tech. Walker gets about 3 yards. Seth Hornak comes up from his strong safety spot to make the stop. And once again, here's Dr. J.
As you look at Omari Walker here on Halloween night, I'll tell you that his wife, Tina, and his 2 children, Brianna and Darian, are back in Mansfield, Mass. Now, Tina took the 2 kids trick-or-treating. Omari said, listen, make sure you have them back by 8 o'clock. They can get all their candy laid out in front of the TV set, and they can watch Daddy play football. But, hey, save me a candy bar.
We say hi to 4-year-old Brianna and 2-year-old Darian as well. Youngsters at home, as many watching here on Halloween, now watching Mike Cloud, Daddy's replacement, break into the secondary. Mike Cloud knocked out of bounds at the 22-yard line. John Jenkins stops him after a 25-yard gain.
Daddy's replacement,
That's what he is to the kids, right?
Mike Cloud subbing this time, basically running the same plays, whether it's Walker or Mike Cloud, and Mike Cloud might have a little bit more scoot in him than Walker does, but a little bit more busted play sometimes, and Dan Henning was complaining about that. Sometimes you give him a lot, and sometimes he makes big mistakes, but this time followed the block for a first down.
Best drive for the Eagles. Cloud is that lone setback. Mike Hemmert made a nice block on that last run. Tries to spring him again. Not as much this time. Give him about 3 yards. Chris Dielba, freshman number 96, stopped Dan Henning's backup tailback.
Dan Henning has always made a name for himself in being able to put together an offense that can be balanced in the run and the pass. And that's what he uses his tight ends for, shifting very quickly the balance of that formation. Strong to the right, back to the left. He'll spin around and go to the right. That's what he keeps the defense being a little more simplified than you might see because of all the changes in there just before the snap.
Coming in tonight, 331 rushes, 307 passes. Hasselbeck just overthrows Todd Pollock, the tight end. And he got hit right before he threw. Ernest Coakley putting the pressure on the quarterback.
That's exactly what happened. He had to throw the ball just a bit before he wanted to. He had to pick out a spot. And, you know, as a quarterback in that situation, you see the guy coming. You just have to throw the ball and see if you can guess right. You depend on practice and timing, and that time the ball just sailed high.
The drive started inside the BC 20. They've moved inside the Pittsburgh 20. And they've been pretty productive in the red zone this year, but now face a 3rd and 7 with Walker back in the game. Roll the pocket. He got out of the grass only for a second, but a good defensive play by Curtis McGee. And we mentioned he's a linebacker with safety size because he was a safety at the start of the season.
And we did. We saw him at Ohio State playing safety, number 35, and this time he runs right through a block by Brzezinski, number 74, the guard, and another sack, number 40 on the season. And, you know, that's not good enough. And Matt Hasselbeck does a good job and has great mobility for a quarterback. That's a lot of sacks when you're keeping people in the block. And that time was a breakdown on the offensive line.
There is John Maddich. This would be his longest field goal of the season, a 45-yarder. They called him Auto-Maddich because he was making so many inside of 40. This is a little longer, and he's got it with room to spare. So John Maddich, his longest field goal of the season. He leads the Big East in points scored, now 58 on the year. That's the final play of the first quarter. After one, John Major's team has put up a touchdown. Dan Henning's team a field goal. On Halloween night, it is Pittsburgh by 4.
State Farm presents Rules of the Game.
We're talking about the runner being downed by contact. In this play is the runner downed by the tackler.
Life isn't just measured in days or years. It's measured in doorways and walkways. Or a favorite sweater, long outgrown. At State Farm, we give our policyholders a yardstick of their own. It's called the Family Insurance Checkup. It helps them measure their own needs and pick the coverage that's right for them. So call your agent for a checkup. Because insurance, like other things in life, is something you never want to outgrow.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We're talking about a runner being downed by contact. In this play, the runner is not downed by contact as his knee did not touch the ground. He may continue to run with the ball.
Rules of the Game has been brought to you by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The choice between a sedan and a wagon used to be quite simple. You choose the sedan if you wanted style, the wagon if you wanted more room. That is until Mercury came up with the stylish Sable wagon and the roomy Sable sedan. So to make the choice a little easier for you, we gave them both the same affordable price. Problem solved.
Ribbons on your chest will be the souls of those who came before. You will be an individual, but triumph as a team. You will know strength, courage, and compassion. You will win what must be won, achieve what must be done. Be all that you can be. You will be a soldier.
The the Cathedral of Learning, right in the center of the campus here at the University of Pittsburgh. Urban campus. We are just a couple of miles from the city. The Pitt Panthers at home, leading BC by the score of 7-3. That BC drive at the end of the quarter certainly helped those numbers, Darren.
Yeah, you know, two teams that have been struggling offensively, especially Pitt, to get points on the board. They had an opening drive, and I think, you know, Lytle has been good, and as good as you're going to get Lytle. I think they're both teams now probably pretty comfortable with how the game started.
So after the field goal, BC ready to kick it off. Once again, John Maddox coming off the season-long field goal. Wayne Schulters takes the short kick. Has an opening. Schulters out across the 40, and this Pitt drive will start at the 42. Nice 28-yard return. Schulters will take his position behind fullback Billy West.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about, Billy West being willing to do other things. We saw him in Coach Majors' office yesterday. We were waiting to see Coach Majors, and you look at, there's a guy who's an all-time leading rusher in Pitt history. He was really the cornerstone of this offense just a couple years ago, and now they're asking him to do something else. Good kid, huh?
Oh, great kid. For the 42, Lytle, play action. Underneath, Jones had it ricochet off his shoulder pads, and Jones had a couple of drops in the game against Virginia Tech in the first quarter. There's a flag down after the play on the far side of the field.
Penalty marker is down.
And it's a personal foul on Boston College. That was nowhere near the ball. There was pushing and shoving between a couple of players.
Dead ball. Personal foul on the defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
Come out. You're struggling a little bit as a quarterback. People are getting on you. Now you throw a strike, and this one is boink right off the helmet. You know, they got the names on the helmet right there.
Right across
he hit him right in the between the A and the TH right there on the helmet right there. Panther. He put it right on the target. Hurt.
Lytle is 4 of 10, but he's at 3 drops. Here is Schulters with a nice shift back, but Darryl Porter, the second leading tackler on this team, came up from a safety spot to make the tackle, and Schulters blew a wheel. He's going to have to put his shoe back on.
Hank Poteet is the backup tailback for this football team now, another true freshman.
Poteet missed the Virginia Tech game with a toe injury, did not make the trip, but he too has some good speed. Pitt has some speed in that tailback position. That's why they were able to move a guy like Billy West. Here is Poteet out of shotgun formation. He said no tricks will be held out on Halloween night. He has the first down, but there is a penalty marker down.
One of the problems you have when you run reverses or when you run wide is people have to hold their blocks for a long time. And this time, holding was the key word, because that's exactly what happens. When you're a quarterback and you gain a little more experience, this time I think it's Brian Meinhardt, you warn your players.
By the offense, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Mike, every time I was in the huddle and I called the reverse, I would warn the guys, now listen, it's going to take a while. Let's not ruin this thing by holding. This is a play where they're going to look for it, especially when you have to block 3, 4, 5 seconds. It looked like Orlandini was the guy who was holding that time, but it could have been Meinhardt also on the outside. It was Meinhardt. He held Darryl Porter, number 44, on the play. Could have got 2 guys.
And again, the youth, Meinhardt is also a true freshman. On second and long. Oh, dangerous pass and nearly intercepted. Jones almost had a hand on it and had the reception, but it went right through his hands, and BC nearly took it back the other way.
Kenny Karcher was talking about working with Matt Lytle. He said some of the things he does, he knows what to do, but he's still making silly mistakes with the ball. That time, he threw a tight end delay, and Stan Cohen had almost ended up delaying right back into it and grabbing it. That's a tough one, though, for a quarterback. You really don't expect a defensive tackle to drop back and make a play on that one.
You get a look at Kenny. He's behind the wall, seated.
You get half a look. That's half his hit right there.
3rd and 14. They need to get to the 34. Lytle complete for a first down and a fumble by Leon Murray. It is picked up by Markel Blount. And Boston College takes over after they made the first down the second time a Pitt receiver has put the ball on the ground.
You can't throw the ball any better than Lytle's been throwing the ball downfield. Leon Murray, a freshman, just sits in the seam this time. The ball is thrown right on target, right in the middle of the zone. And Murray, who was a quarterback just a year ago, showed his tendency to put the ball on the floor after he made the catch right there. Oh, that's too bad. That was a nice play right there. Good execution by the line and another pickup of a first down, and then they throw it back.
Again, the inexperienced Murray, that's just his 5th catch of the year. Game's first turnover. Hasselbeck goes up top. Anthony DeCosmo, first down into Panthers secondary. Into the Panthers secondary, pulled down by John Jenkins after a 17-yard pickup.
Must-see TV or must-see the receiver for DeCosmo on this one? Coming across the middle. Cosmo right there goes out on Barutzis. The young safety-type corner right there trying to play coverage, does not get it.
They try a little no-huddle, and Omari Walker is stopped by Rod Humphrey. Barely a yard there. I mean, we're all friends. Must-see TV.
Well, just came out, you know.
Dan Hennings watching his team trail Pittsburgh by 4. A little wrinkle here out of the Eagles. You mentioned Pitt coming. Hasselbeck gets away from one man and dumps it down, complete to Scott Dragos, and the tight end is knocked down by Seth Hornag, but a penalty marker on the play.
Barutzis just grabbed Cosmo that time. Cosmo was coming out on a hitch and go, and he just grabbed him and threw him down, and he got caught.
Talk about that inexperience at the corner for the Panthers.
Inexperience with a 4.840, you're in a little trouble out there.
Especially when the other guy can move and DeCosmo can't.
By the defense, 10 yards, previous spot, first down.
The penalty starting to catch up with Pittsburgh. That's their 5th, and the mistakes as well. The turnover on the last drive as they were getting into field goal range.
You know, Mike, it's a mistake, but if you're going to get beat for a touchdown, you might as well grab the guy. It's only a 15-yard penalty in this game, so Barutzis was going to get beat deep, and he didn't know that that time Hasselbeck was being forced out of the pocket in opposite direction.
John Majors recruited 16 freshmen to Pittsburgh this year, and even though Barutzis is not a freshman, he's part of that inexperience. 12 of those freshmen have played. Hasn't been able to redshirt many of them. First and 10 from the 42. Eagles driving. Pitt coming. Hasselbeck throwing. Flushed out of the pocket. Able to tuck it under and get about 5 yards. Chris Steelbud knocked him out of bounds. Freshman out of Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Another one of those freshmen in the lineup.
I know Dan Henning would like to have a balanced offense, and that's the goal he goes into every game. But I think as this game unfolds, he's going to see more and more that the easiest way to move the ball against this current Pitt defense is to throw the ball. Omari Walker this time is going to be the guy that gets the key block, comes inside, forces Hasselbeck to screen to the outside for a positive play.
2nd and 5 with Pollock in motion. Walker running. And only a couple of yards for the tailback, Jason Chavis, in on the tackle for Pittsburgh. He started the last few games at defensive end.
Well, Chavis was a linebacker a year ago, and when they tried to move this team around, he lined up a little bit at defensive end. Then they went to a Arizona-type width linebacker look, and he's been moving around probably as athletic a linebacker as they have on the football team.
You saw him trying to put his shoe on. He didn't do it, so he kicked it into the secondary. So the guy at the back right of your screen is playing with no right shoe on 3rd and 3. And Hasselbeck throws it nowhere. Miscommunication with Dennis Harding. The receiver was 10 yards down the field. I like that, Gary. I can't get it on. Just get it out of here.
It's only a 10. They don't go cleats on those things anyway, right?
Look at him.
That qualifies for a free ticket right there. You get a free ticket because that's a good costume.
Barefoot in the park, huh? Well, 4th and 3, and they will go for it. From the 35, it would be a 52-yard field goal, and we've seen the wind moving left to right. Not going to make a field goal of that length with Matt. They bring people, and Hasselbeck can't find a man. The Pitt defense holds. Pass intended for DeCosmo, and Hasselbeck was hit hard by Ernest Coakley. The Pittsburgh defense comes up with a nice hold. Take over good field position as well, leading by 4.
Introducing the new Coors Light wide mouth can. It provides an exceptionally smooth pour with less glove. This is because of the wide mouth opening. It's the innovation you've been waiting for your whole life. Or is that just me? Here's your average beer can. Notice that annoying glug sound. Now here's Coors Light's new wide mouth can. A larger opening means a smoother pour. Listen. Whisper soft.
Driving a supercharged Riviera is a pretty racy form of entertainment. And now, with these special low lease rates, it's more exhilarating than ever. Riviera by Buick.
Today I set out to fix my car. Thanks, neighbor!
Whatever.
I had to stop at 4 different places. Push! Push! Good thing I live in a friendly town. Push! One of us pushes, the other one pops the clutch. Come on, push, push! I am pushing! Finally, I went to Pep Boys. Hey, everybody, I fixed it! I love this town.
Car or truck, Pep Boys has your starter or alternator. 26,000 items at the guaranteed low price, tires and service too. Pep Boys, everything but gas.
ESPN's presentation of new symbol for quality in America. And by Coors Light. Grab a silver bullet and let the mountain come to you. Coors Light. Tap the Rocky.
With Gary Danielson and Dr. Jerry Punch, Mike Tirico at historic Pitt Stadium, built back in 1925 on Halloween night. Panther faithful watching their 2-6 team lead BC by 4, 7-3. You see, Pittsburgh has had a much better opportunities out of the gate. They start from where they've averaged starting at the 35, and he filters the tailback who is just tied and brought down by Stalin Collinette.
Collinette's on his way to a big game. They have not been able to handle him inside. And remember, Brian Meinhardt, the true freshman, is finding out that this isn't East High School that he's blocking here right now. He's got a big-time guy, and that is really one of the most discouraging things for an offensive coach or anyone in a program where you're forced to play a guy who's not ready yet. Brian Meinhardt is not ready against top-level college football.
Second down, Lytle. Jones hangs on, and the big tight end across midfield, and a Pittsburgh first down. He has shown speed and ability when he hangs on to the ball. And a 23-yard pickup there.
Yeah, he teases you. You know, you throw one to him, he moves so well, then he coughs one up, but you really can't ignore him. He's too good of an athlete this time. He's going to come out of the left side of your screen, runs it out right there, and the ball is put right into the zone that time. Turns up. Big guy, too, Jones. 240 pounds.
Sophomore out of Cleveland, puts Pittsburgh into Boston College territory. Here's the tailback shoulder. Got a nice block from Reggie Thomas, the left tackle. Inside the Eagle 35, Bobby Edmonds, the linebacker. They never brought him down. They just stopped him.
Yeah, you know, Dan Henning really made a living on running the counter tray play for the Redskins. This time, that's exactly what he sees is the counter tray. And Reggie Thomas leads the way. And Schulter's got some quicks on him. He is going to find it. If there's room to run the ball, he's going to find some room. He gets you all you can get.
See the scores in the news going by, Gary. 28-58 after every hour. Keep you up to date as you watch BC and Pitt tonight. 11th carry of the night for Schulter. Drop the football. Collinette down there. Schulter's down there. Will the stronger guy come out of the bottom of the pile with the ball?
Looks like Collinette had it today. I'll tell you, when you want to shoot yourself in the foot, you can put a clinic on how to do that.
It is Eagle ball. The stronger guy on the bottom of the pile came away with it.
That play was well blocked. Shoulders hit the crack exactly like he was supposed to. Had the ball in the wrong hand, and he points to himself and says, I made a mistake. Actually had the ball in the left hand, and I don't even know if anybody even touched it that time. He was skipping through the hole and really wasn't able to get back to it. You know, I think it was a foot of the blocking back.
Just kind of threw his whole body off.
Exactly. I think the foot came up and knocked that ball loose.
Penalty markers down as BC came to the line of scrimmage after the second Panther turnover, and they put it on the ground 3 times. This may, in fact, be an illegal substitution, and it is. Pittsburgh had 12 players on the field in the huddle and then broke one out. That's illegal. Quite a start for Stalin and COYNE.
Yeah, you get a start like that, you get real close-ups on TV, and it's nice. The problem is when you do something really bad, you get those close-ups too.
One of the tight ends, Gauzo, works out of the backfield, so you know Hasselbeck's going up top, looking deep, and nobody is there. Gauzo and Pollock, the 2 tight ends, about 40 yards down the field. We should point out again for you Eagle fans who are wondering, where's number 4, Kenyatta Watson? Has 20 catches and 350 yards on the season. He's not here. The senior has a pulled a muscle in his left quad on Monday in practice. They thought it was going to respond. It just didn't. So he didn't make the trip. Walker's now the back. The 2nd and 5. Mark Norrie leads the way blocking, and Omari Walker very close to, and looks like he has the first down at the 45. Rod Humphrey got the tackle.
Pitt's defense has been able to survive. They've not been able to give up the deep ball so far in this game, and I'm really surprised at Boston College. We've seen the one long pass by Hasselbeck. I'd be very surprised if we don't see that ball thrown down the field a little bit more here.
The big play has been missing for the offense. The longest touchdown this season, 21 yards. Walker looking for room. Fumble the football. And Pitt may have that at the bottom of the pile. They do. So the Panthers get it right back on the Eagles side of the field.
I think you can see when you start this football game why both of these teams are struggling against quality opponents. They make a lot of mistakes, sacks, a lot of unforced errors from both sides, and they don't seem to be able to attack the team and really take advantage of what's out there on the field.
Boys, it's too late. All the pulling and pushing isn't going to matter.
Number 26,
Seth Hornack is at the bottom of that pile, and the 5'10" freshman out of Lower Burrell, Pennsylvania, comes up with a turnover for the Panthers.
Run to the outside of this formation. I don't know. I didn't see anybody really attack that football that time, but it looked like Barutas was in the middle of it, and he's going to feel much more comfortable in the middle of the running game as a safety than as a corner outside. Boston College, I think, would be better off spreading the field than coming in real tight and let Barutas play near the pile.
From midfield, Lytle. Lefty comes the natural way for him. And picks up a first down running the football over the 40. He led this team in rushing last week. Dan Henning talks to his offense, and you heard him say, hold that ball. Omari Walker has small hands. They worked with him, Gary, in the offseason the last couple of years to strengthen the hands just to try to hold on to it. And he hasn't been plagued by fumble problems this year. But like you said, it didn't look like a good on hit or somebody pulling the ball away there.
No, it looked like it just popped out. And I noticed he's wearing gloves. It's really not that cold of a night either. And I never liked my running backs wearing gloves.
It's not that cold. You've got a heater under there on your side. It's not that cold.
Well, November almost, right?
Stalin COYNE. He is not cold. He's on fire tonight. He's been in the BC backfield as much as Weston Schulters.
Holy cow. This guy is going to be must-see TV himself tonight. Coming right through this time, Meinhardt just cannot make the block, runs right through it, and on a counter tray action that time from the backside, he makes the play.
That's the 5th tackle already in the first 22 minutes for the senior, who, as we mentioned before, moved from defensive end to help out personnel-wise in this 46 defense. Of course, he has the fumble recovery earlier. Schulters in motion west, the lone back on 2nd and 15. Quarterback draw. This killed BC last week. And Lytle gets down to the 33. Lost the football, but I think they said it was down.
Donovan McNabb, a pretty good day running the quarterback draw. Bill Amazing said, you know, we did a pretty decent job on their football team. But then the quarterback draw started to hurt us, and then the passing game really killed him. Grishow did a nice block that time. Billy West got in the way of the middle linebacker, and when you look at Lytle, he's a guy 225, but he's got pretty good speed for a big quarterback.
McNabb had 2 touchdowns rushing in Syracuse's 45-17 win over BC up at Chestnut Hill last week. Thus, the importance on this game. 3rd and 4, Holford back in the game for the Panthers. See, no flag. No flag. Kiernan Spate, it's a clean play as the sophomore out of Washington, D.C. broke up the pass intended for Holford, and Lytle pleading his case.
Matt Lytle throws the ball so well and has such a big arm that oftentimes he doesn't set himself. Watch this time. Watch Lytle. And I know Eric Stortz is in his face this time, but watch, he's throwing that ball backing up that time. And his technique kills him a lot during the game. I don't know if we can tell all through the game what is happening to him, but occasionally he does like to back up and throw the ball at the same time, and that is going to kill him.
This would be a career-long 50-yard field goal, but it is short and left for forensics. So Boston College will take over in good field position at their own 33. Mistakes plaguing both teams. Panthers by 4.
It's the perfect landing. It's another business day. It's friend in blue waiting there for you. It's traveling your way. And best of all, it's thrifty. Ooh, you'll be so satisfied. Best of all, it's thrifty. Renting cars with Clyde worldwide.
The other day, somebody told me it'd be a lot easier if we started shipping our beer at room temperature. Now, easy is one thing, but cold and Coors have gone together since I can remember. We age, fill, and ship our beer cold. Our distributors even store our beer cold. Why, I'd no more take the cold out of Coors than take the snow out of the Rockies.
The Regal GS was painstakingly refined to minimize engine noise. Its suspension system was refined to be very quiet. Then, Regal's interior was further insulated, allowing you to hear other things you may not have heard before. Regal by Buick, the fine line between sports and sedan.
Minnesota battles Orlando Pace and offensive powerhouse Ohio State. Saturday at 12:30, only on ESPN2.
Pittsburgh looking for its 3rd win in 1996, leading Boston College 7-3. It's a long way from the glory days. 20th anniversary of Pittsburgh's national championship team in 76 and the great players that followed. Tony Dorsett, Hugh Green, Dan Marino, along with Bill Fralick. Those 4 jerseys have been retired by Pittsburgh, and their lockers are glass encased in the beautiful new Pittsburgh locker room for the players to walk past as they come out on this field where national champions have played before. Omari Walker, the lone setback as the Eagles take over, trailing by 4. And Hasselbeck back to the air. Deflected, nice height by Ernest Coakley at 6'2", broke it up.
That was a beautiful play by Coakley that time because Hasselbeck threw that ball before DeCosmo had even turned around. And again, they're going to try to attack outside Barutsis, the corner to the bottom of the screen. But watch Coakley just get up and tap that ball. That was a real nice play. And you know, Hasselbeck is really struggling early in this football game. 3 for 12 he started out against the Pitt secondary. That's not the best there is out there.
Ranked 109 against the pass out of the 111 Division I teams. Omari Walker picks up 4 there. Bring up 3rd and 6, another 3rd down situation for the Eagles, and they have struggled on 3rd down tonight. Walker out. Mike Cloud's going to come in the game for Matt Hasselbeck, the junior, who's completed 54% of his passes coming in today, and that percentage has increased as the season has gone on. You see how much they've struggled on 3rd down tonight. With Dragos in motion, Hasselbeck threw high, and good play by Rashad Whitmill to give Dennis Harding no chance of bringing it down. Another 3-and-out forced by the Pitt defense, and this is a defense that is second to last in major college football in points allowed.
Real interesting defense that Pitt uses on third down. They're keeping Jenkins in the middle of the field looking for those rollout situations, and then he attacks Hasselbeck. Hasselbeck has to throw the ball a bit early, and just like you said, he was high on the throw.
Jason Malecki kicking. Got up a nice one. John Jenkins going to let it hit. And can they get there? Nope. BC got a hand on it before the goal line, but knocked it into the end zone. 63-yard punt. Here's Dr. Jerry Punt.
Hey, guys, just back to the south end zone here at Pitt Stadium lies a $6.6 million Giraffes athletic complex, which features a totally revamped weight room, a state-of-the-art athletic training and rehab facility, and a hydrotherapy room, which features something you won't see very often, or at least for now, a SwimX hydrotherapy tank. There aren't many of these in the country. This tank is used to rehab a knee injury or a shoulder injury by buoying an athlete, keeping their weight up, and letting them swim against a variable current. Let me show you. That current's pretty swift, about 8 miles an hour. As I said, what used to take a year to rehab in a knee injury now takes about 4 months. This place has one, the Naval Academy, Pittsburgh, Colorado, and oh yeah, the Pope's got one. Pretty good endorsement, I'd say.
Absolutely. The papal seal. He'll kiss that ring to get in there and rehab. Billy West with the carry. It'll be 2nd and 6. Gary, we walked through the facilities yesterday.
Beautiful, weren't they?
Speaking of the Pope, on cue. They've really made an effort to take the underneath portion of this old stadium, which was built in 1925, and maximize it because they have space under the stand.
Nice and lots of things you'll see.
Lytle. Oh, another drop for the tight end, John Jones, and 4 drops overall for Matt Lytle. I mean, he should be like 11 of 15 at this point.
What does Jones have? 2 catches?
Oh, wait, we lost the punch doctor.
Oh, this is nice. Real nice.
See, I was wondering where Jerry went. Not only is he showing us this way, trying to emulate the Pope.
Why not, huh?
It's been a tough season on the Winston Cup circuit. Jerry rehabbing. West and Schulters will be the backs out of the gun on 3rd and 6. Lytle can't find anyone. Trying to run for it, and will just come up a yard short of the first down. He's got the speed, but Craig Bartlett from Hartford, Connecticut, the sophomore, came up and stopped him a yard short. I do believe it's a yard short. Let's see, he got a generous spot, so it is 4th down. Some of the fans want to see John Majors go for it, but you're ahead in this game. You might as well keep your chances going for you.
Well, 4th of what, 2 or 3 inches on that one? Got a 225-pound quarterback.
Nate Cochran, not his best kick. And here is Garrett Crittenden. Nice moves by Crittenden to the 40-yard line. So the field position battle is starting to swing a little bit toward Boston College. Let's see if they make something of it. They trail by 4.
Let's face it, when you're buying a truck, price is everything. McCain, Pittsburgh's biggest truck dealer, always the low price.
Like the new 97 Ford Explorer XLT, final price is $24,996, or lease for $299 per month. And the fabulous 97 GMC Jimmy, final price is $25,197, or lease for $265 per month.
Test drive and compare 7 of America's top 10 sellers with just one stop at McCain.
People magazine calls Millennium far and away the best new show of the year. The killer's gonna be hard to catch.
You can't ask me to pretend that I don't know what you do.
What happened?
Bruno! The 1,000 years is over!
What is the group then?
That you're the right man for this.
Millennium, from the creator of The X-Files.
You can't stop it.
Tell us what your nicknames are going to be this Sunday. We want to win that ESPN name game sweepstakes. Ben Winter coach. Eric sleeping with the enemy.
To enter, watch NFL Primetime this Sunday night. Write down a Berman nickname you hear and call the number shown. You could win a trip for two to the 1997 Super Bowl. Watch NFL Primetime and your nickname could be prize winner. Visa, the official card of the NFL, presents ESPN's Name Game Sweepstakes.
We can't hear you.
Two teams looking for their second Big East win of the season. Pittsburgh leading Boston College by 4 on Halloween night here in Western Pennsylvania. Here's our thrifty car rental storyline. If you're just joining us, Stalin Collinet has been a big factor for Boston College on the defensive front. Gary Lytle's numbers are not pretty, but
let me help him a little bit here. Put a little 10 right across right there. 10 for 15. He's had 4 drops. You know, let's help the guy out.
3 turnovers in the game, but neither team has been able to make the most of those turnovers. Boston College starting from its own 40. And they continue to run the ball. Omari Walker with about 4 yards. Seth Hornack up from his safety spot. Their safeties, Jenkins and Hornack, a freshman and a junior, they are playing a good football game here. At least they're very active here.
They have not been stretched. That's basically the reason. They have not been able to, whether it's been protection problems up front or getting receivers jammed downfield. I think that's what Dan Hennings was telling us, why they've been so many sacks on this team. It's a different reason every time in the passing game.
Pollock, the best pass-catching tight end, is in motion. Little play action. It's the other tight end, Scott Dragos, with the completion. Hornack trips him up, but he gets across midfield and down to the 46. A first down.
You have a lot of tight ends. You can scoot them through a lot of different ways. This time, Dragos comes from one side of the formation all the way to the other side of the formation, scoots in there and catches a little bootleg pass. And that's the type of plays I think they'll be most effective in trying to get at these safeties who do a better job tackling than they do in pass coverage right now.
Just the 4th completion of the evening for Hasselbeck. Dennis Harding in motion for 1st and 10. Before the Coakley hit, Omari Walker into the secondary. Down to the 33 and 32-yard line. A 13-yard pickup, and now some jawing between the quarterback and the outside linebacker for the Panthers.
Anytime you run a blitz play, a defensive assignment, Mike, will be something like, I'll take the second guy to the outside, and you have to cover that guy. This time, Coakley's right in Hasselbeck's face. I've been used to hearing a lot of that. But when someone is that wide open, when you have 10 yards of space around a receiver coming out of the backfield, that means someone's blown the assignment.
First down, Boston College. Nice drive. They're making room through the air, going up top for DeCosmo. Incomplete, and Barutz is step for step with him.
I don't think DeCosmo saw that ball that time. I don't know if he lost it in the lights, and you know, the angle of the pass, he might have never seen it that time. But again, Hasselbeck threw that into a spot where DeCosmo had really no chance to get it. See if DeCosmo even sees the ball. No, it passed him by like it was a bird passing him by that time. He didn't even see it, didn't even jump for it.
And DeCosmo comes to the sidelines after the coverage by E.C. Barutz.
You know what the coach says? It's that brown thing up there that we're looking for.
Harding's in motion on 2nd and 10.
Same play.
And Omari Walker again with a gain. Knocked out of bounds at the 20-yard line. A first down. John Jenkins made the stop and may be slow to get up.
Same play that we illustrated just 2 plays ago, getting the back out of the backfield, and again, a busted assignment to have a back running out of the backfield that wide open in that situation.
13-yard pickup for Omari Walker, who's being utilized about as much in this first half as he has all season.
And I think
backfield coming out and catching the ball.
You bet. And I think Dan Henning has found something that's working for him, and I think you'll see more of a mix like this the rest of the football game.
3 tight ends, 1 receiver. On 1st and 10 as BC enters the red zone. And it's Walker pulled down a couple of yard loss. Julian Graham, another freshman. This kid out of Philadelphia. 240-pounder comes up and knocks down Walker. Sets him back a few yards.
Mike, watch the hand signals the tight end Scott Dragos gives to the back. That's giving a technique, the inside guy. I've got an outside technique. I'm going to take my guy wide, and everybody should know from that hand signal how to run the play. A lot of teams use those hand signals for techniques at the end of the line of scrimmage.
After the loss of 2, it's 2nd and 12. Pollock, the tight end, stays in the block. Hasselbeck has time, and nice interception by Rashad Whitmill. Put the ball away, Rashad. Now looking for some blockers. Got one. Whitmill Knocked down to the 33-yard line. Just the 5th interception for the Pittsburgh defense. Here's Chris.
I'm in your little window, Mike. Coming up, the special Fright Night Coors Light halftime report. We'll have the 4 Lombardi Award finalists. Our halftime blitzers will look towards Saturday's games and the wild and the wacky in hidden video as Count Corso and Kirk Herbstreit join me on the Coors Light halftime report. Coming right up, guys.
I like Nightmare on Herbstreit, as Chris introduced Kirk to the kickoff show earlier. Well, it's been a nightmare for Matt Hasselbeck statistically.
Yeah, those are not good ones to have national televised.
Here is Schulters with a burst. Wade Schulters picking up good yardage and close to a first down for BC, for Pittsburgh, I should say.
Schulters really honks it up in there. When there's a crack, he takes it, and what you really like about him is he trusts his players. This time, Billy West again, tracks around, finds it, gets somebody knocked down. Hey, this is not the biggest fullback you've ever played, and he's doing his job and looks more comfortable at the position than what we saw on film last week.
Junior college player from Nassau Community College on Long Island. His emergence has allowed Billy West to come up to fullback, and we should point out West is up at fullback because Chris Schneider, sophomore, who was really one of the better players on this team offensively, suffered a knee injury. First play of the game against Virginia Tech last week. It was a play that was run to the right. The fullback Schneider was up on the left-hand portion of the screen if you were watching the game. Nothing to do with the play, just completing his block. A knee injury out for the season. So they were a few inches short, so it will be 3rd and 1.
Yeah, so they lose Curtis Anderson in that football game, Chucky Brown and Schneider all in the same football game, and played Virginia Tech. Might have been the best football game they played all year.
They led that game late 3rd quarter. The Hokies scored the last 21 points. It is 3rd and 1, 3 tight ends, and Gary, that's what you were talking about on the 3rd and 1, 14 yards ago.
I will admit it's a little tougher to do on 4th down, but I think that you can have that anytime they want.
So first down as they move the change. Chance for us to remind you that this is a huge weekend for us. The season premiere of ESPN, Sunday Night NFL. From the Super Bowl site in New Orleans, the 49ers and Jerry Rice take on the New Orleans Saints. Jerry Rice, 3 catches from 1,000. 8 Eastern, game time after prime time with Mike, Joe, and Mark. BC, 2-minute drill now. Up by 4 behind Jake Hofer, the wide receiver.
Well, I promise you, Matt Lytle can throw the ball big time. He's got as strong an arm as anyone in college football. When he learns how to set his body and throw the ball, he'll be a good quarterback.
Really, as anyone in college, his arm's that strong?
Oh, I mean, he just throws the ball very, very strong, and he's throwing it backing up. If he ever learned how to really gun the ball and use his full body, he would be really tough to deal with. He's just learning how to play quarterback, just a sophomore.
He's missed his last 4 on 2nd and 10. Uses some of that mobility. There's a penalty marker down. So even though Lytle has done a great job to get out of bounds and pick up the first down.
Yeah. And guess who's standing next to that flag?
That would be Stalin.
Stalin, the Stalin man.
The Stalinator. Stalin Colonnade.
The Stalinator is going to have, he just knows exactly what's happening because they can't block him tonight.
Yep. That's funny. It's exactly what he was doing as that play was going. He was just standing there 15 yards behind, hands on hips next to that flag. And this is mine.
You know who used to do that? Howie Long.
Really?
He used to know exactly what was going on. I'd be looking downfield, good play, and he'd be going, I guarantee. Holding right over. He'd be holding the flag, handed to the official.
So you guys were talking even then, getting ready for your next career?
Howie did all the talking.
Oh, really is. So that backs up Pittsburgh. They'll be facing 2nd and very long, as you see, needing to get up to the Boston College 45 for a first down. Here with 1:10 left before halftime. 1:09. Check that. 7 penalties for the Panthers already this evening. And they're going to back up even farther now. Looked like some miscommunication as Lytle went right up to the center to discuss, even though McMullen and Orlandini on that right side of the line were moving. John Majors, age 61. He watches his team move back 5 more yards. Was really, really emphasizing that I'm not making excuses for this team. There are just reasons why things are going wrong. And that's a great, apparently the kids have adapted what their coach is saying, how to accept this tough season.
Well, I don't think where they have much chance to do anything else. You got a demanding coach who's going to say, hey, we're practicing hard and we're going to do it my way. And he's been more demanding on technique because he said, maybe we're not the greatest of players, but we're going to do it right.
As Schulter's gained just a couple of yards, BC burns a timeout. They have one remaining. If you remember, they came out of a change of possession earlier and used the timeout at the line of scrimmage. So they are now down to one timeout with 61 seconds before halftime. So as Matt Lytle and company discuss what to do on 3rd and 25, we'll step aside. Come back after this.
Not in a game, a football game. It's one of those, he could have got in just with the tenor sack. He didn't need the clown out there.
Now, there are some clowns in the band, but 3rd and 25, Schulters has some running room and gets about 15 of them. See if BC uses that final timeout here as the clock continues to move down. And finally, they get it after letting another 4 seconds run out. And that's important when you have no timeouts remaining. So Pitt's going to have to punt the ball back to Boston College. Triple dip for you Saturday. College football on ESPN. It starts in the Big Ten, Wisconsin. Will they get that first Big Ten win of the year against Purdue? Then early primetime, Warwick Dunn and the Knowles take on Georgia Tech, and Colorado State hopes to slow down Bo Morgan and Air Force. Game day, start your day. The Resident Inn scoreboard in the middle, and then all the updates all day and night. Wisconsin taking on Purdue. Brad and Gary and Adrian move on to the Big Ten. Check out you guys from Madison.
I always like to go to Madison. It's the best stop in the Big Ten. No doubt about it.
See Boston College out of timeouts. And then at night, a couple of interesting games, including that Florida State-Georgia Tech game. It's the last time the Seminoles will leave the state of Florida this season up until a bowl game.
Yep. Well, yeah, it depends on what bowl game.
Right. There's Nate Cochran, who is, as we mentioned, one of the best kickers in the conference, second in the Big East, 14th in the nation. Gets that one away. Derek Crittenden waiting. And fielding going the wrong way. Well covered by the Panthers. Down at about the 12-yard line. A 44-yard punt, 1-yard return, a penalty marker is on the field. Be a tough spot if this is against Boston College with no timeouts and this much field to go in 37 seconds.
Oh, I think it will be against Boston College at this point. No, blocks. The football and the punts, you'd be better off fair catching on those all the time. Just over the whole year, you might turn out on a positive.
Yardage-wise.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, the microphone has gone trick-or-treating, at least for the moment, so BC will start this drive from inside their own 10. Not many options, 37 seconds left, no timeouts.
Well, the best option here is to be very, very safe on what you do with the football here. And I'm going to be very, very safe on what I say about what they should do with the football here.
I thought you were going to say about that guy there. I mean, it's a dangerous game. A lot of odd-looking people here. Not the odd-looking people, but odd-looking get-ups here on Halloween. Omari Walker runs it. About 12 yards. John Jenkins makes the stop, but a first down for Omari Walker. Pushed his total in this first half over 700 yards through the first 8.5 Boston College games. BC no huddle, so they'll push the tempo a little bit just inside their own 20.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if they throw that ball down the middle of this field anywhere. I think you'll see another draw play.
You correct, sir. A nice burst by Walker, though, and tripped up finally by Seth Hornack as he was in danger of breaking down the sideline.
See, now you're out to the 35-yard line where you could put that ball 25 yards, 30 yards downfield, throw a little jump ball type pass, and maybe get it in the field goal range.
First down yardage.
Again, only one wide receiver really in the game for Boston College.
Walker with 97 yards, and they throw here in the final seconds. And they'll have just a couple of seconds, one, to get a final play off. So Omari Walker in the first half, a good rushing total, 18 carries for 97 yards, the offensive MVP in the first half.
And the problem, you have a good half like that running the ball, and you've been so bad throwing the ball, you have 3 points at halftime.
Right.
I really, you know, that was a little different call right there. One wide receiver in the game, you throw it 10-yard out. I don't know what a 10-yard out gives you in this situation. You only got 2 seconds now left in the game. A half.
Still the regular couple of tight end personnel here, and just a quarterback draw to close it out. And Hasselbeck pads the stats, gets them near midfield. Maruchis with the stop, and that ends the first half. LaSalle and Collinette and the defense have done a nice job. Each team has turned it over twice. But Pittsburgh heads to the locker room with a 4-point lead. Our halftime score, Pittsburgh 7, Boston College 3. Now the Coors Light halftime report with Lee and Kirk. Here's Chris.
Mike, thank you very much. So BC at 4-4. This is an important game for their bowl chances and on Halloween zombie-like effort in the first half from them so far. Coming up on our Coors Light halftime report, we'll look toward the weekend games with our halftime blitzers, and Lee and Kirk will join me. We'll also have hidden video and a lot more coming up. At halftime in Pitt Stadium, the homestanding Panthers by 4 over the favored Eagles. A fright night halftime with gobs of special effects. Pumpkin heads coming right at you.
Driving a supercharged Riviera is a pretty racy form of entertainment. And now, with these special low lease rates, it's more exhilarating than ever. Riviera by Buick.
Coors Light, the silver bullet, a ship cold to tap the clean taste of the Rockies. Good boy. The new Coors Light wide mouth can is here with a giant opening for a smoother pour.
All across America, you're there to see us through. Just around the corner, a neighborhood Jiffy Lube.
Jiffy Lube. With 1,200 locations, we're always there when you need us. And we offer Pennzoil.
3,000 miles, you make us smile. America's Jiffy Lube.
Jiffy Lube, America's favorite oil change.
This halftime report is brought to you by Coors Light.
And welcome back to our Coors Light halftime report. Well, it's that time of year when the watch list for the various postseason awards are cut down to the finalists. And the Lombardi Award is now down to 4. Now, the defending champion of the Lombardi Award, Orlando Pace of Ohio State, won it as a sophomore as Chris Myers and Mike Ditka looked on. The big guy took home the hunk of granite. Check out this play from last week. The Buckeyes left tackle blocking against Iowa way downfield.
Backside block, no one to pick up. He gets downfield. He's 45. Look at Ples Atkins. Oh, no. But, uh-oh.
Wrapping the jersey. Orlando, you're better than that. Let's do that. He is one of the 4 finalists. Cornell Brown of Virginia Tech. He's been battling an injury, a chance he could play against the Raging Cajuns on Saturday. Juan Roque, the guy who protects the blind side of Jake Plummer, and Jared Tomich, of course, the great pass rusher for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Guys, obviously, Pace as the defending champion would be the favorite. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Orlando Pace will win this award and every other lineman award this year, period.
No question.
I mean, he's a Heisman Trophy candidate.
There's debate about him being up for the Heisman, and I think it is warranted because he goes out there and he gets the job done. He's hustles. You see him 40 yards downfield. You have to. I mean, there's no one else even. It
doesn't affect the game. He only plays when they go to left or right.
Not the Heisman. Not the Heisman. But definitely. Yeah.
I think the Lombardi and the Outland will win them both. He'd be the first guy to pull that double since Washington Steve Entman back in 1991. More discussion, perhaps even more agreement on College Game Day Saturday morning at 11:30 Eastern Time. We'll look at all of the big ball games. And coming up next on our Coors Light Halftime Report, the Blitzers will join us. They are massed at the line of scrimmage, ready to check out the key aspects of Saturday's big game.
Introducing the new Coors Light Wide Mouth can. It provides an exceptionally smooth pour with less glove. This is because of the wide mouth opening. It's the innovation you've been waiting for your whole life. Or is that just me? Here's your average beer can. Notice that annoying glug sound. Now here's Coors Light's new wide mouth can. A larger opening means a smoother pour. Listen. Whisper soft.
I was driving down a road, and to my right, there was a rather deep pothole. Pow! I survived. That's the problem. You want to prevent potholes. DuPont's technology can make a road which will last longer. The chemistry that we use to modify asphalt is similar to the chemistry that we use to make other products. We can change the molecule so that it can be used in perfume bottles, roller skates, bowling pins. We can make golf balls that spin better. That was my idea. I feel like I have accomplished something, I guess.
Better things for better living.
It starts here. And it starts here. And it even starts here. Because it all starts here at Walmart, home of the EverStart battery. A powerful new battery that you can count on to start when you need it to. And since it's at Walmart, you can also count on a good price. EverStart. The name says it all.
This halftime report is presented by Coors Light. Grab a silver bullet and let the mountain come to you. Coors Light. Tap the Rockies.
The Panthers over the Eagles, 7-3 at halftime in Pitt Stadium. Welcome back to halftime. Well, this weekend, some of the storylines include perhaps a rookie mistake by a Michigan State Spartan as he gets to take on the Wolverines. Syracuse and their good special teams against West Virginia. Florida and perhaps Danny Werfel's potential as a pro, according to Spurrier. And Washington versus USC in Pac-10 country. We start out in the East with Ivan Maisel.
West Virginia head coach Don Nehlen made no changes in punt protection after the Miami disaster. His logic? The Mountaineers punted 8 times in the game with no problem. Yes, but Tremaine Mack-Smack was the 5th Mountaineer punt block this season. Excluding special teams, Syracuse-West Virginia is a classic matchup. Behind Donovan McNabb, the Orangemen have averaged nearly 50 points in their 4-game win streak. Behind linebacker Canute Curtis, the Mountaineers are 1st or 2nd in the nation in every defensive category. But the Orangemen lead the Big East in punting and punt returns. The return of Mountaineer tailback Amos Darraway will help, but whoever wins special teams wins the game. Advantage, Cuse. Let's go to the Southeast and Tony Barnhart.
Now let's see if we've got this straight. Florida's Danny Werfel is the most efficient passer in NCAA history. He's won 3 SEC championships, and he's headed to a 4th. And his 95 career touchdown passes is 2nd only to Ty Detmer, and he won the Heisman Trophy. All this, and there are still NFL scouts who think this guy can't play. Get real and get smart, NFL. Steve Spurrier says this is the best quarterback he's ever had. And if he has no doubt, then neither should you. And get this, Spurrier says that right now, Werfel is playing the best football of his career. That spells bad news for Georgia as the Bulldogs lose their 7th straight to the Gators. Now let's go out to the Midwest and Gary Danielson.
Since Michigan and Michigan State each has just 1 conference loss, they both know how important this football game is.
but their approach will be exactly the opposite. In true freshman running back Cedric Irvin, Michigan State has the best complement of speed, power, and football savvy at running back in the Big Ten. And together with a healthy Todd Schultz at quarterback, the goal of the MSU offense is balance, run, and pass. Michigan, they've tried not to be balanced. Scott Dreisbach only threw 11 passes last week as Lloyd Carr has tried to reestablish that traditional run game that hasn't been the same since Bo left. Now, Cedric Irvin might be a veteran on the field, but off the field in the press this week, he made a rookie mistake. He said getting ready for Michigan, no different than getting ready for, say, Eastern Michigan. Somehow I think Michigan will try to point out the difference. Now let's go out west and Gene Wojciechowski.
And now, time for a pop quiz. With Cardinal and Gold, is ambidextrous, and is older than Tommy Trojan. You said student body right or student body left, then go directly to USC's game plan against Washington. John Robinson isn't giving up on the forward pass, but from now on, the Trojans are going to run until their opponents drop. That means lots of DeLon Washington and Sean Walters, and lots of trouble for the Huskies, who have given up an average of 303 rushing yards in their 2 losses. The Huskies have bruiser back Corey Dillon, but the offensive line is down 1, maybe 2 starters. USC gets the win and also gets on the short list for the Cotton or Holiday Bowl.
All right, thanks, guys. Back to that Danny Wuerffel situation. On game day on Saturday, Mel Kiper will assess Wuerffel's pro potential. Not sure he agrees with Steve Spurrier, but tune in. Mel, always interesting. Now to the flower of their Georgia game lead, 52-17 last year, and the Gators are better this year.
Well, Chris, one of the reasons why I think Florida has a much better chance to win a national championship this year than last year, defense. A perfect stat for that is this. On 3rd and 3 or more, Florida only allows their opponents 13% of the time conversion. The average is 40% in college football. That's amazing. That's why they get the ball back so much, and that's why they score a lot.
In the Big Ten, Happy Valley, the Wildcats of Northwestern take their 13-game win streak in there. Darnell Autry is back from the injury. Wally Richardson will continue to start at quarterback. He was the preseason All-Big Ten guy, now last in passing efficiency.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate what has happened to Wally Richardson. A lot of blame. You have to realize they lost Bobby Ingram, Freddie Scott, a lot of their offensive linemen, and he is taking all the blame. I really applaud Joe Paterno for the way he handled it this week. He said, listen, we don't have a quarterback controversy. Wally Richardson is my guy. But at the same time, you never know. Into that second quarter, if things aren't going well, does he make the switch and go back to Mike McQuarrie? The fact that that's a question favors Northwestern. Getting Darnell Autry back, I think they pull off the upset.
McQuarrie on the field for 38 at Penn State's 48 points against Indiana, so he may be Jopa's guy, but he's not going to be Jopa's guy for long. So they cannot afford to get off to a slow start in this ball game. The second half is coming up from Pittsburgh, but not before our regular Thursday night feature, Hidden Video, the best from the wild and wacky that you did not see in the highlight shows from last weekend.
It's the end of the model year, and from the winners of the 96 North American Car of the Year award comes the clearance of the year, the National Chrysler Clearance. Choose from all these 96 award-winning Chryslers. Get $1,000 cash back on the Sporty Cirrus, or APR as low as 1.9% on Chrysler Concorde, or $3,000 cash back on the luxurious Chrysler LHS. For a limited time only on 96 models during the National Chrysler Clearance. Only at your Chrysler dealer.
I'm Bill Ravati. I'm running for Congress, and I want your vote. This race is not about Republicans versus Democrats. It's about what each candidate stands for.
Bill COYNE supports same-sex marriages and voted against banning partial birth abortions. He cut veterans' benefits instead of his own $2 million taxpayer-funded pension.
I'll fight to save Medicare, abolish congressional perks, and stand up for our values. Don't vote for a political party. Vote for the man who best represents your views, values, and future of our neighborhoods.
ESPN's Game Plan, your pay subscription guide for Saturday, November 2nd. If the game you want to see is not being shown in your region on ABC, it may be available on pay subscription. Starting at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, the East and parts of Florida will see Michigan at Michigan State over the air on ABC. Nebraska will travel to Oklahoma to take on the Sooners in the South, Midwest and Southwest on your ABC affiliate. Starting at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific, the East, parts of the South, and Midwest will see Northwestern at Penn State over the air on ABC. Washington will travel to USC to take on the Trojans in the West on your ABC affiliate. Parts of the South will see Maryland at Clemson over the air on ABC. Baylor will travel to Texas to take on the Longhorns on your ABC affiliate in the Southwest. At 4 p.m. Pacific, the West will see San Diego State at San Jose State over the air on ABC. These additional 4 games are also available on the ESPN Game Plan. Your college football Saturday is covered. Not all games are available in all areas. Call your local cable operator or DirecTV for...
Gary talked about Johnny Majors. There have been all kinds of rumors there. Some Pitt boosters talking about perhaps Mike Ditka coming in, Bobby Stoops, so the Florida defensive coordinator is a name that's been thrown out there.
Yeah, but let me give you another sidebar in this situation. The new athletic director is Steve Peterson, formerly of Nebraska. Steve got his chance at Tennessee as a recruiting coordinator. Guess who gave him his first job? Johnny Majors. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't give John one more year, kind of solid, get things solid, and try to turn this thing around.
I would be surprised by that. I think Steve Peterson, he was a recruiting coordinator at Ohio State my first 2 years there. Very energetic, a young athletic director. I could see him really making a move and trying to bring in a young, aggressive coach, whether it's a Bobby Stoops or whoever it may be. I think that's the direction he may go.
I think he ought to become an athletic director 1 year with Majors, then do it.
Pay him back for the break he gave him.
Loyalty, my friend, loyalty.
It's tough, though. Being an administrator, part of that job is having to let guys go. Look what happened in Indiana. Mallory, a popular figure. Is Pitt still a great job? Can you win there now the way Majors won in the 70s?
Pitt's a great job depending on what job you got right now. If you don't have a job, great job. If you got a good job, don't go there.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Are you kidding me?
That's true.
You're not applying, are you?
No,
You happy with your job here? Okay.
You have to think of the talent that's in Pittsburgh and also in Youngstown. There's a lot of talent in that area. If you can just put a fence up around there, you can win a few games.
Whoever coaches Pittsburgh the next couple of years, you're seeing the young talent on the field. They are inexperienced and they're paying the price now, but there are some players in that program. And right now, the Panthers trying to pull off the upset at home against the Eagles. They lead 7-3. Mike, Gary, and Jerry with the second half when you come back.
When you're buying a car, if you want a super selection, if you want outstanding service, if you want the best deal, it's Benke. Benke Chrysler Plymouth Jeep Eagle has hundreds of vehicles in stock ready for immediate delivery. And Benke has earned Chrysler's prestigious 5-star award for service and is continually rated among the top 10 dealers in the nation. For selection, superior service, and the best buy, head north to Benke Chrysler Plymouth Jeep Eagle on 910 in Gibsonia and Route 19 in Cranberry.
People magazine calls Millennium far and away the best new show of the year.
The killer's going to be hard to catch.
You can't ask me to pretend that I don't know what you do.
What happened?
Bruno! The 1,000 years is over!
What is the group then?
That you're the right man for this.
Millennium, from the creator of The X-Files.
You can't stop it.
In college, ever to excel is more than a motto. Whether its athletes are beating the best on the field or leading the rest in graduation rates. Whether its faculty are being called among the nation's most dedicated teachers or its students are tutoring inner-city youngsters, Boston College remains committed to excellence, to leadership, and to service in the Jesuit tradition. Among the most sought-after universities in the country, Boston College is setting the standard.
Pittsburgh led at halftime last week at Virginia Tech. At home this Halloween night, the Panthers lead Boston College by 4. Welcome back to historic Pitt Stadium. Gary Danielson, Mike Tirico. In that first half, we saw a player who you may not have heard of emerge on the Boston College defense.
Well, if you don't follow college football real closely, Stalin Collinet is a guy you didn't know much about. But tonight, if you're watching this game, you don't have to watch closely at all. He's all over the screen. Tonight, Collinet, I'm going to circle him right there. Watch him blow up this counter tray play. Gets into the backfield. For the game so far, he's had 3 tackles for a loss. And in some hitting yardage in this game, he's also drawn 2 holding penalties against him. So he's had a great game. And I think Billy West has had a good first half in this football game. Asked to play some fullback. He's come through. He's blocked well. And he's allowed the Pitt team to get off to a start. And, you know, last time I did a Pitt game at this time, there was 50 points on the board by Ohio State.
That's right. So they're a little better in the score column. Here are the numbers in the first half. The passing yardage in favor of Pittsburgh. Matt Lytle has had a decent first half, even though he's just 6 of 17 throwing the ball. Each team has turned it over twice, and those turnovers have hurt.
And the only hidden thing in these stats is about 40 to 45 of those yards by BC came at the end of the half when it really didn't mean anything. They were just picking up yards.
Omari Walker, the Boston College tailback, who's second in the Big East in rushing, 97 yards on the ground in that first half. If you remember, Boston College won the toss, deferred the option to the second half, so they obviously decided to need the ball down 4. So Pittsburgh will kick it off to them, and it's Chris Burnett kicking off for the Panthers again, with Derek Crittenden and Cedric Washington back deep. Second half underway on a cool night in Pittsburgh. Here's Washington. And the BC drive will start from the 25. Matt Hasselbeck leads the Eagles on the field, down to the field, and Dr. Jerry Punch.
Here in the Pitt locker room, legendary coach Johnny Majors talked about what's #1 on his list. Take a look. I'll show you. #1, the team making the fewest mistakes will win. He talked about all the mistakes they made in the first half, the fumbles, the fact that they can't catch the football, and the young offensive lineman holding again and again, costing them yardage on the field. But most importantly, after 29 years of coaching, he said one thing to the kids. Kids, it's important that we have fun. We're having fun tonight because we're winning. Mike?
On top by 4, Jerry, as BC starts with Omari Walker out of the backfield, so Matt Hasselbeck will go to the air. It's worked a little bit getting the ball to Walker as a receiver, and he's out just shy of the 35, picking up 9 yards.
Jailbreak screen that time. Throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage. Get your lineman out in front of him. That time Walker came out, did a little bit of motion, and then peeled back underneath his lineman. And again, I think you'll see the best way to move the ball against this Pitt defense that is shortchanged at corner especially is try to spread the defense out and try to throw the ball.
Second and short. Chance to take a gamble if you so choose, or just pick up the first down, and BC does the latter, with Walker getting just inside the 40. The Hochul set Fornak in on the stop.
All right, Walker has been able to attack this defense in basically all directions. He's been able to run inside and outside, and as you said early in the game, he's the one guy back there who's going to get it.
Coming your way. It's not easy to screw up, right? On first down, Hasselbeck. Everybody's covering. 3 are in the pattern. He got leveled as he threw the ball away. And they sent very few out in the pattern, and once again, it's Fornak making his presence felt on the field.
Remember, Walker was sneaking out of the backfield, Mike, and getting open towards the flat this time. I think they discussed this at halftime. Coming out, Walker goes out. 2 guys deal with him this time. We've been having trouble. Let's put 2 guys on him this time. That's a breakdown of defense that time again. One time you don't cover him, the next time cover him, double cover him out there.
And as BC sent just 3 into the pass pattern, more Pitt defenders came after Hasselbeck. Here they come again on 2nd and 10. This time it's complete to Dennis Harding at the 45-yard line. Good throw and catch. The sophomore Harding, for 30 catches on the season. 15-yard pickup there.
That time, again, Pitt in that long yardage situation on 3rd down, again came with the delayed blitz. But this time, Hasselbeck stood in there and finally threw a ball across the middle of the field on target.
Johnny Major's team has won just 1 conference game, a 53-52 shootout against Temple. Play action. They'll try Harding again. Pollock made a nice block, but Whitmill made a better play.
You bet. Whitmill just stuck his hand out that time, just clipped him out there. And Pollock was out there trying to block, hit in motion back and forth. Quick screen out to the outside. Pollock is right here at the end of the line of scrimmage. He's going to come outside on the quick screen to the outside and get the block on Whitmill. But watch Whitmill just reach out and trip just barely on the play. Nice job by Whitmill.
Corners are holding their own. They are scrapping. On 2nd down, they try Walker again. Damon Gibson, the freshman who they expect a lot from during his Pitt career, comes up and makes the play.
Last time, Todd Pollock was out blocking on the quick screen. This time, he ends up giving a signal on the outside and says, My technique is outside. I'm going to take him outside. The running back sees it. Scores up in there. Nice little scheme.
It's a little bloodied there. Pollock is
fake blood, yeah.
3rd and 5, and they haven't picked up a 3rd down in 5 tries tonight. Catch is made. 1st down. Anthony DeCosmo on the other end of the Hasselbeck toss. Whitmill that time had to make the tackle.
Rashad Whitmill that time had no help to the middle of the field, yet his technique was almost outside technique. Here's Whitmill to the top of his screen. There is no one in here to the middle of this thing. No help at all. Receiver's going to break in. Wide open throw. That's pitch and catch on the schoolyard. You and I could do that out there right now, Mike.
You and Jerry, perhaps.
You want to catch him or pitch him?
I think you're the best pitcher within range. BC trailing by 4, and Hasselbeck saw something he did not see, so has to burn the first of their 3 timeouts here in the 2nd half. BC driving, trying to take the lead. Dan Henning's team is down by 4.
You got a client meeting before, and you better be there.
You're not going to wear that, are you?
Hey, lady, you're out of Huggies.
Life getting kind of complicated? Try the simple luxury of an Accord V6 sedan from Honda.
I never could have outfought Santana.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Their inexplicable behavior continues. Got to go now. Braveheart is on.
It's not TV. It's HBO.
But I didn't know till this day that it was Rossini all along.
You worry? You're overprotective? You're a parent. Isn't it nice to know that there's something almost effortless you can do to protect your family even more? Just ask your State Farm agent for a free family insurance checkup. It's a smart way for you to decide if your family's insurance coverage is up to date. So they'll be better protected. And maybe you'll worry a little less.
ESPN's presentation of college football is brought to you by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Call 1-800-RENT-A-CAR. Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up. And by Office Depot, taking care of business for companies of every size, everywhere, every day.
Final couple of hours of October in western Pennsylvania. It feels and looks like November on this night. I'm not sure what that guy feels right now, but I know what he looks like. 7-3, Pittsburgh leading Boston College here on Halloween. Better left unsaid. Hasselbeck has engineered a nice drive here. 4 out of 5 complete. No backs. Covered walk that time and find the second option, Dragos. Scott Dragos, the tight end. Knocked out of bounds, but inside the 10-yard line.
This is exactly one of those plays where if you're a quarterback, you got the wide receiver screen, the jailbreak screen again. He was covered. And now you take a chance and throw the ball under duress, and you make a good play. If this one doesn't work, as you see, Walker was actually faking. This was a design play. That was very well designed, because even up here, we thought all along that that was a play going to Walker that time. And you can see that all the way was going to go to the tight end.
1st and goal, Boston College. Whistles and flags come down. That's a crushing penalty on 1st and goal inside the 10.
Yeah, 1st and goal inside the 10 is your toughest 9, 8 yards you can get in football. And now to move back and have it 1st and 15 or 13 or whatever it is makes it even tougher, obviously.
Boston College backs up to the 14-yard line. Pittsburgh defense has given up 43.5 points per game. That's their average for the season. Only UNLV has given up an average more than that this year in major college football. 33.5 minutes, BC just 3 points. Hasselbeck tries to add to it with Harding. Well, runs into Damian Woody, the center. Couldn't get out of his way. Back inside the 10, though. They picked up most of the penalty yardage there.
Todd Pollock is actually going to block this time before the ball is caught. Number 89 on the right side of your screen. Watch him get Barutz's. That ball hasn't even caught yet. That's the tough thing about these college rules. It's a little different than the pro game. You're blocking downfield on a cornerback before the receiver catches the ball.
You see the entire BC offense. Nobody split wide. Just Harding in motion. Hasselbeck throwing end zone and out of the end zone. Pollock was out there, but Ernest Coakley hangs with him. Let's check in with Dr. Jerry Park.
At halftime, guys, Dan Henning talked about the fact that he would like to run the football. He said, but there's blitzes and delayed blitzes taking our running game completely away. So now our passing game, well, this sums it up. He said we've had 3 problems. We can't protect, and when our quarterback gets sacked or gets chased out. When we do protect, our receivers aren't open. When our receivers are open and we protect both, we throw it to the other team. He said, we almost can't win. We've got to improve our catching and protection.
Answer D, all of the above, right? 3rd and goal. Must look at the end zone. And Hasselbeck is sacked. Big loss. Jared Miller, the senior defensive end who leads this team in tackles for loss, comes up with a huge 3rd down play.
Mike, sometimes you leave in guys to help the quarterback to avoid a sack. This time they only sent 2 receivers out. Both of them were double covered this time. 2 guys up here on this one, 2 just out of your screen right here. Both of them on the plate, double covered.
So Boston College will come out and attempt a 39-yard field goal. As you see, John Madich made his only attempt. Otto Madich, what they call him around the heights from this distance, but not here. No good. BC had 1st and goal from the 9, a penalty. 3 passes plays that did not gain yardage. Madich misses the field goal. Pitt still leads by 4.
This is my idea.
This is my dream.
In the last 10 years, over 6 million people have taken the bull by the horn.
This is my chance.
This is my bread. And blazed their own trail.
This is my life.
It's hard to say where they found their courage, but chances are they found their supplies at Office Depot. Since 1986, we've helped businesses succeed. With everything from Colombian envelopes to Dr. Grip pens from Pilot. All at the best prices, guaranteed. Office Depot.
This is where I take care of business.
The Odyssey has a fold-away rear seat. It drives like a car. It even has 4 doors. Perfect for the family on the go.
It's hunting season, Ted. Hello?
The Odyssey from Honda.
Oh, bathroom. Oh, bathroom, bathroom, bathroom. Oh, yes.
Traveling's an adventure. Where you stay shouldn't be. Fairfield Inn by Marriott.
The Noles head to Atlanta. Florida State, Georgia Tech at 7. Saturday primetime. This week on ESPN.
Hasselbeck has time. And nice interception by Rashad Whitmill. Put the ball away, Rashad. Now looking for some blockers. Got one. Whitmill. On this Fright night, Rashad Whitmill and the Panthers a 4-point lead over Boston College, and the defense dodged a bullet. BC had 1st and goal at the Pittsburgh 9. They come away with nothing. First time Pittsburgh's offensive hands on the ball. Billy West, the fullback. Wayne Schulters, the tailback. And Lytle could not fool Markel Blount, and Lytle may be hurt. He grabbed his left knee as Blount took him down, and he is obviously in pain.
naked play that he has run successfully a couple times tonight. Completed a big one to John Jones. I think it was Hofer early in the game. Then Jones dropped that one later on the same play. This time, staying home. Blount just is right there, and 2 or 3 moves by Lytle. Oh, it just almost makes you sick watching
really
that
does.
stuff.
Really does. Pete Gonzalez, the backup quarterback, you saw him warming up. Let's get a look at what happened.
And man in the line of scrimmage, his job is deeper than the quarterback. Look for this naked play. Fakes a couple times. Oh, and it looked like he fell right on. Blount fell right on the leg, and that's what popped the knee on the play.
So as Gonzalez, the backup quarterback, warms up, they still tend to Lytle on the field, and we'll check the sophomore's injury when we come back to Pittsburgh.
I'm Bill Ravati. I'm running for Congress, and I want your vote. This race is not about Republicans versus Democrats. It's about what each candidate stands for.
Bill COYNE supports same-sex marriages and voted against banning partial birth abortions. He cut veterans' benefits instead of his own $2 million taxpayer-funded pension.
I'll fight to save Medicare, abolish congressional perks, and stand up for our values. Don't vote for a political party. Vote for the man who best represents your views, values, and future of our neighborhoods.
7825, code 6, 105 North Avenue, 52.
One Dakota crossing. Borden Wall, Dakota, Borden Wall. Available 1 minute first time and holding around 1022. 13 Sergeant 1 Essential. 15 Sergeant 110.
How to get any Hollenbeck unit on that turbo 600 North Mont.
Increasing conditions around 10-2. 6 Charlie. Okay. 6 Charlie, go.
10-4.
Got it! Jerry Wright. He's got another one. Right. Jerry Wright. Right. Jerry Wright. Veritable magnet.
It's San Francisco and New Orleans on ESPN Sunday Night NFL.
That'll draw a flag.
This is Keith Olbermann. Tonight on SportsCenter, we'll break down the tricks and treats of the first half of the NFL season, all the action from around the NHL, and a pair of Atlanta arms filing for free agency. Kenny Mayne and I join you for SportsCenter after the game.
So as we look for SportsCenter a little bit later on, we're back here in Pittsburgh where Lytle came off mostly under his own power. And what looked a lot worse a couple of minutes ago, fortunately, may not be as serious as we first thought.
Twisting away, you'll see Blount falls on him, and he reaches down left leg right there. I don't know how he popped it, but he grabbed the knee right away. You thought for sure it was going to be something very dangerous and scary, and then he ends up running off the field. That's good news.
Pete Gonzalez, who started the spring as the #1 quarterback and started games against Miami and Temple this year, now under center for Pittsburgh. And he's getting a few yards on the ground with Dwayne Schulter. Here's Dr. Jarrett.
I think what an athlete hears at times is worse than sometimes what they feel. Matt Lytle said he heard the knee pop whenever he went to the ground and the other player fell on, Boston College player. He had some pain, but not severe pain. That's why he laid on the ground. They checked the knee. It apparently was a mild sprain. Might have been the kneecap that hit the turf. And I said the turf here is very, very hard. When he's up walking around, they should be back in the ball game.
Jerry, thank you. So Pittsburgh now facing 3rd and 18. Of course, the sack on the play that Lytle was injured on. Gonzalez just going to keep it on the ground. Deep in your own territory. Schulters broke outside, got over the 20, but nowhere near, about 9 or 10 yards short of a first down. Shalom Tolfree knocked him out of bounds.
I think that's a good call, though, in that situation. You don't want a guy coming off the bench who hasn't done anything throw an interception in a 7-3 football game. Let's punt. Defense is hanging in there right now and see what we can do.
So Nate Cochran is back to kick for Pittsburgh. Derek Crittenden to receive. Cochran turns over a beauty. Crittenden at the 37 calls for the fair catch. May have had a few yards, but again, Kenyatta Watson is normally the punt returner, and he did not make the trip. Coming up Saturday on ABC, doubleheader college football at noon Eastern. Most of you will see Nebraska, Oklahoma, or Michigan State, Michigan. Out west at 4 Pacific, you'll see San Diego State, San Jose State. The doubleheader game for most of you Northwestern, Penn State. Steve Schnurr and Bates have been spectacular this season for the Wildcats, or one of these other regional games. Check your local listing for games on your ABC station, or choose one of pay subscription from your local cable operator. Boston College ball, trailing by 4. Omari Walker bounces it outside. Seth Hornak in on the tackle, but Walker gets BC in second and short.
Seth Hornak, a young football player, true freshman. He really does have a nose for the football. He's been in on a lot of plays and seems to enjoy the game, too, out there.
He went to Johnny Major's football camp. That's where the Pitt coaches first saw him. After every game, and I wonder if he's going to do it tonight because it is cool, he gets into an entire tub of ice water. Not just one part of the body, the whole body with a tub of ice water. Walker on second and 3 and gives Hornak one more sore spot to put in that tub of ice water later today.
And I found it interesting, too, when the coaches say, and you find out about Hornak, is that he likes to talk. And just really can't play without talking out there. And I always get a kick out of those type of players. They're fun to play with, as long as they don't pick a fight with the wrong guy, you know.
It's 5'10", 180, and he sticks that nose in there on most every play. We're going to measure to see if Omari Walker picked up the first down. On his 21st carry, Walker is over 100 yards. He's at 110. Hold on to the ball there. It'll be third and just a little bit for Boston College. Omari is above. He usually averages 4.3 per carry. A yard better per tonight. Boston College, Gary, go ahead.
Halloween night, are you usually a handout candy man at home like that? Yeah, that's my job.
Always handing candy. Never much in costume. Right?
No.
Not a dress-up guy.
We like to have the music playing in our house. Oh, yeah, we got a real good sound effect.
Oh, you know.
Yeah,
BC finally picked up a third down on their last drive, facing third and short here and going to the air this time. And the first down. So Adam Newman, the freshman from Dedham, Mass, picks up just his second pass reception of the year, an 11-yarder. Deception on third down is the first down.
Third and very short, like you said, less than a yard, maybe only a foot at the most that time. A little play-action pass, and Newman was wide open and pick up the first down.
Dan Henning's team is getting the opportunities. This will be the 58th play they run. Boston College, 14 more plays than Pittsburgh after this first and 10 snap. Hasselbeck waiting a long time, and the receiver was forced out of bounds, and a penalty marker has been thrown on the far side. DeCosmo was the receiver over there.
This is a questionable call right here. He jams the receiver as he turns up. Whitmill does. And that was an uncatchable ball, I thought.
You know what? He may not have thrown the marker. He may have just thrown the beanbag to point that the receiver's out of bounds.
Happened. On the right side of your screen, you were going to see Whitmill right here jam the receiver out of bounds, and that's exactly what's doing. He's throwing his marker to say he cannot come in and catch the ball. Good call the outside.
Second and 10, Hasselbeck back to the air. Tight end covered down the middle, and the second option, fumble football. Whitmill get it in time? No, he was out of bounds, so it is a completion to Pollock, and a fumble out of bounds, actually gaining a couple. Whitmill nearly came up with the turnover.
Whitmill's having a good time. He's in the middle of everything out there. This time, Hasselbeck wanted to go downfield. Pollock will delay and come across the middle. And then Coakley's going to come strip that ball, and it bounces, and he almost had it one-handed on that play, didn't he?
That would be his second one-hander.
Yep.
We just saw the interception with one hand a short time ago. Another third down for the Eagles.
Pitt has been blitzing in this situation all night.
They need to get to the 31. Just before the play clock expired, and they're not getting anything there. Walker is stopped up by the defense.
Let's see. Third and a foot, we throw. Third and 6, we run the sweep.
Fourth down.
Now, what are you doing fourth?
Fourth down, we throw. Right?
Yeah. Well, you're not going for a field goal after the last attempt that way.
And it's too close to really punt the ball in this situation.
Sobolewski and Dielba made the stop for Pittsburgh. Hasselbeck has been more accurate in the air. Handoff on 4th and 4 and nothing. The Pittsburgh defense answering the challenge of Dan Henning's offense all night long.
Ball just jammed inside. Pitt had 8 men at the line of scrimmage. They were blitzing. The safeties are right up at the line of scrimmage. You see Jenkins right here. Here's the safety, 4th and 4, behind the line of scrimmage. That shows you the 8-man front in that situation, and they run right into the teeth of the defense.
Damon Gibson got the first push. The freshman helps make the play. Pittsburgh back on offense, and Lytle back at quarterback, and this is Billy West. West over the 40-yard line, picks up about 6. Let's see if these 2 defensive stops by the Pittsburgh defense can put a charge into this offense that has not seen the ball much from the middle of the second quarter on.
Well, and they do have to put some first downs in. And Boston College is going to slowly wear you down. Sooner or later, they're going to get the ball in the end zone on you. They need now for Pitt to get a few first downs against this Boston College defense. And to do it, they're going to have to block COYNE. That's the key to it right here.
This set West is back at tailback with Beasley leading at fullback. And just a yard or so, Billy West. Bobby Edmonds comes up with the tackle. Edmonds, part of the troika, trying to replace Brian May at inside linebacker. May, their leading tackler, dislocated his left elbow in the Syracuse game and is out for the rest of the regular season.
I saw Chris Beasley yesterday in the weight room. He comes up to me and he says, "Hey, man, the program isn't right. I don't weigh 205. I'm 230. He said, "That was my freshman weight. I don't know why that's on there." I said, "All right. I make sure I mention it for you."
Beasley, the senior from Pottstown, leads the way for West on 3rd and 1. First down. Important first down for Pittsburgh. They keep the clock and keep the ball in their favor.
If you're a smart running back, you're able to set up your blockers. Watch how West sets up Orlandini on this play. West is going to stretch the play. Here's Orlandini on the play. He could go wide, but he sets up wide and cuts behind the block this time. Set it up wide, cut behind the blocker right there. That's what a good back will do in this situation. Find the hole and cut behind him.
Darryl Porter got there, but a little bit too late. First down, Pittsburgh. West for the 4th straight snap. Oh, there's a try to cut back again, but Pedro Serino, the true freshman, made a nice arm tackle.
You wonder if something's happened to Dwayne Schulters in this situation. They've had success with the previous formation with Schulters back there, and now they make a switch.
There's Schulters standing with his helmet. Is it tough at this point, Gary, for West, who's played fullback and probably is focused just on being a fullback this week, going back to tail?
I would think so. This late in the football game here with only 4 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter.
Lytle going up. We close the first down yardage for Kirk McMullen, the tight end, and it will be, in fact, a first down. McMullen out of Imperial, Pennsylvania, just the 4th catch of the year for the freshman.
Yeah, a freshman walk-on. You walk on to a major, college this time, and you're able to go out there and play in a football game. You know how that happens? It happens because the guy in front of you dropped 2 key passes. That's how. Let's find the next guy. Maybe he'll catch him.
Bulked up, gained 35 pounds. McMullen, part of this drive. Here is Schulters back in the game. And does a nice job to even get it back to the line of scrimmage as Edmonds led the defensive push.
And our man COYNE is going to be in this one. COYNE takes the charge. He's right here. He's just going to push Meinhardt right in the back, cause a lot of traffic this time. He's right there. Nothing can happen because the big guy is in the middle of it again. I started out calling him small. You were calling him big. Now I'm calling him big. Why not, right?
Do I have to start calling him small?
No, we'll work together.
Thank you. Schulters, the back. Lytle goes deep. Holford is out there. Touchdown! Matt Lytle to Jake Holford. It's a 10-point lead for the Panthers.
Lytle just flicked that ball that time. He did not throw. He didn't even use all of his arm. I bet he could throw the ball another 20 yards if he had to. This one was perfect touch, and Holford was wide open. Wide open on the play. Great job. Good job.
So Lytle, who was injured on the last series, comes back. They run the ball. 1 pass to the tight end, McMullen. Then the big play to Hofer. Chris Forensic on for the extra point, and that is no good. First time this year, Forensic has missed an extra point in 20 attempts.
Again, Lytle in the pocket. Watch how easily he throws this ball. He's on, what, the 40-yard line. Little traffic just let this ball fly, and he knew it halfway there that this thing was wide open, and he did not overthrow it at all. I mean, look at two guys here. This is the outside corner on the play right now. That is another blown coverage. I mean, more often than not, you're seeing this football game is being decided by mistakes. If you can't handle calling it with one guy, you put your center on him. You get two guys on him. You've got to get your quarterback time to throw, and this time Boston College only brought 4 people, so the center was free to help the freshman on the play.
And Hofer on the business end. He played football at Pacific. They dropped the program, so he was able to transfer and immediately play at Pitt. Played spring ball. Before that, he spent a couple of seasons at Sacramento College. So here's a guy who was at Sacramento College, then Pacific, now here at Pitt. His 15 catches in his last 3 games has been a factor tonight. Was knocked out of this game earlier on a big hit, but comes back to get the touchdown, and now Boston College trails by 10.
You know, sometimes when you move a player, and Curtis Anderson was their go-to receiver, they had to move him to defense because they just needed him. The last 3 games, Hofer, until this game, has caught 15 passes. He has emerged with the moving of Anderson to defense.
Chris Burnett kicking off for Pittsburgh. It will be Cedric Washington from the goal line. Washington stopped up at the 22. Throughout the season, American Honda has recognized outstanding students for their athletic and scholastic achievements. The winner this week of the Honda Scholar Athlete Award is tight end Todd Pollock of Boston College. An economics major, his grade point average 3.04. Honda proud to donate $3,000 to BC's General Scholarship Fund on behalf of Todd Pollock. We add our congratulations to the BC tight end. The Boston College Eagles 4-4 on the season, needing to win 3 of their last 4 to be eligible for a bowl. Trail at Pittsburgh by 10. Hasselbeck to the air. And a first down to Anthony DeCosmo, the redshirt freshman. Threw that in front of E.C. Varoutis, the sophomore who was the starting strong safety, moved over to cornerback this week because of the injuries. Remember, Pitt is playing without their 2 starting corners, Chuck Brown and Curtis Anderson.
Yeah, playing with 3 safeties in the game.
Maybe not BC will try to exploit that. Walker. Effective as a pass catcher tonight. 12 yards on that completion.
Mark Norrie, number 71, right here in the middle of your screen. The guard is going to hit. This is design screen play. He'll come out, get his block, and then peel that time on Homick. Gets the block inside, then comes back and gets the safety. Nice job by the guard. Real good technique on a delayed screen play.
Norrie, the senior out of Philadelphia, one of 2 seniors on that offensive front, protecting Matt Hasselbeck. Kenny Pegram got through there, forcing Hasselbeck out of the pocket, but on the run, DeCosmo made the catch. Those no's you were hearing were from the Pitt bench.
DeCosmo was running an in route on that play that time. When he saw Hasselbeck go, the rules take place. You'll see DeCosmo break in, comes inside. Now he sees the delay. Quarterback scrambles. He says, I'm going to come back and help my guy. Just now, that ball's being thrown by Hasselbeck. There it is. 1 foot in. That's all you need.
25-yard pickup for DeCosmo. It's more receiving yards than anybody on this Boston College team coming in. First down. Drive totally through the air. Overthrown. Really exposed his receiver Harding with the high pass.
And those are one of the ones when they watch the films the next day, receivers kind of start shaking his head saying, you just can't hang me out like that, man, you know. And then I would say, hey, I'm not trying to. A little high because Jenkins had him pegged that time. He was going to lay one on him if that ball was thrown a little bit lower.
See, Boston College has held on to the ball, run some plays, but nothing to show for it here. We're late 3rd quarter. Pitt bringing people. Hasselbeck throwing again for DeCosmo, but Veruchis is hanging in there tonight and doing as good a job as possible.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, that time, we talked before about Dan Henning has kept everybody in and only sent 2 receivers out, caught 4 guys. This time, it's an all-out blitz, one-on-one coverage. DeCosmo doesn't get open. That's not good enough against, he looked like he was just kind of out there real smooth. You got to work that route. Veruchis had the whole field to cover that time. He made it easy for him. That was not a good route.
Steve Everson replaces DeCosmo at wide receiver on 3rd and 10. And Hasselbeck overthrows, but again, good coverage. That time Everson was blanketed by Whitmill, with Seth Hornak helping out at the safety spot.
You know, what's very apparent is that Boston College misses Kenyatta Watson. I mean, he was a go-to guy that could make people miss once he caught the ball. You know that stat we were talking about in the first half? Boston College has not had a touchdown over 21 yards. Very apparent they do not have game breakers at the wide receivers on this football team.
At 13-3, Henning will this time choose to attempt another field goal, 44 yards for John Maddox.
Yeah, that missed extra point, they always come back to haunt.
This one, much better line and good. So Maddox, after missing a short time ago, earlier in this quarter, connects and has cut the Pittsburgh lead down to 13-6. And BC, after 3 decent drives, finally able to put some points on the board here in the 3rd. So Maddox 2 of 3 on the field goals. The Eagles get set to kick off with a 7-point deficit now to the Panthers. You get a look at Hasselbeck, Gary. He's a quarterback who's been part of an up-and-down story for BC. Has kind of settled in. A lot of sacks on Hasselbeck this year. Yeah. And he's still hanging in there.
He does always. He's you know, good bloodline. His dad played professional football. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to compete. But I think that Dan Henning is over there telling his players that someone else needs to make a play besides their quarterback. Matt had hit 10 out of his last 13 passes before those last couple of incompletions. There was no one open on those plays. They need to run better routes in the secondary.
His dad, Don Hasselbeck, was a tight end, late 70s, early 80s with the Patriots, but in the greatest year of Boston professional football, 1985, the year the Pats were blown out in the Super Bowl by the Bears, his dad was playing with the Giants and caught a touchdown pass in a playoff game against the 49ers. And his younger brother is a freshman quarterback here at Boston College. Trailing by 7, Maddox puts it on the ground. Fielded by the up back, the fullback, Beasley. Pounding through people, and Beasley gets out to the 38-yard line. Well, full day of college football Saturday on ESPN. College game day starts it off. Then at 12:30 Eastern, Wisconsin-Purdue. At 7 Eastern, Florida State and Georgia Tech. Colorado State Air Force finishes the busy day. Gary, what about the running game for the Noles?
I really like when Florida State goes back to a little bit more I formation and do what they do best, run the ball. That no-huddle offense used primarily all time through the game, I think that makes them a little weak.
Thad Busby coming off his best passing day, helped out by the running game, part of our triple header on Saturday. Mark Butler had a knee down, but it's still a completion for the Pittsburgh senior wide receiver out of West Covina, California.
Going back to Matt Lytle right there, talking to Kenny Karcher, the quarterback coach and offensive coordinator, he said that he's really been testing Matt Lytle differently on his game plans the last couple of weeks. He's been putting him on the board and putting pressure on him, asking him questions in rapid fire. Instead of giving him a written test, he's been putting him up there and saying, I want an oral test and I want these answers quickly. He does look vastly improved.
Shoulders, there is Stalin Collinet, somewhat quieter here in this 3rd quarter, but makes a big stick there and puts Pitt in the 3rd and a little bit longer.
I get the feeling that Brian Meinhardt, number 57, would just assume that this Halloween is one that never happens again. Because he is learning on the football field what it takes to play major college football. And I tell you, when this season's end, he's going to be in that weight room saying, I need to get a little bit more next year.
He has a twin brother, Jason, who's a little smaller, who's also on this team, but he's another one of the true freshmen forced into the lineup. 3rd and 7 for the Panthers. Lytle steps up. West Kidding over shoulders. I guess that would be Dwayne on the spot. First down, Pittsburgh.
Well, when you throw the ball to Billy West, everybody should look for a tip, I guess.
The offensive tip drill?
Yeah, right. This time, in through the pocket, pretty good protection. I watched Meinhardt. He did a good job. Here's the pass. Billy takes his eye off it. Schulter says, hey, when the ball goes up, I better be looking for it. Gets the tip pass. There it is. Bats it into Schulter's hands for a first down. Meinhardt, one look at him again, did a nice job that time. Hey, we might as well show a good one, right?
From their own 49, West pops back to tailback and picks up 5 yards. Darryl Porter, the second leading tackler on the Eagles, makes the stop, and that should do it for the third quarter. The Pittsburgh Panthers led late in the third quarter last week at Virginia Tech. This week they lead going into the final 15 minutes. After 3 in Western Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh at 2-6 on the season leads Boston College by the score of 13-6. Our fourth quarter on Halloween night when you come back to Pittsburgh.
#1 selling home computer with Intel Pentium processor. Packard Bell. Wouldn't you rather be at home?
When I say facts and report to me by 5, I mean 5.
You can kiss that promotion goodbye, Shorty.
Your accountant's on line 1. The audit next Tuesday.
Your wife's on 2, and where's the dry cleaning? Yeah, where's the dry cleaning?
Life getting a bit overwhelming? Try the simple thrill of an Accord Coupe from Honda.
I couldn't sleep at all last night. Just thinking of you. Maybe things weren't right. Well, I was tossing and turning, tossing and turning all night.
I'm out here doing my old man winter bit, generally making life miserable. And what do? You install a rude furnace. Now you're always warm and toasty. What? Nothing. How would you people like another ice age?
Beat old man winter with a dependable Rude furnace.
Maybe I'm getting too old for this job.
Special financing now available.
On a windy last night in October, Pittsburgh leading Boston College 13-6 as we start the fourth quarter with Dr. Jerry Punch and Gary Danielson, Mike Tirico here on Halloween night in Pittsburgh. A treat thus far for Panther fans who've seen their team win 2 games this year, beating Kent and Temple. 2nd and 4 to start the quarter. Lytle looking deep again, this time for Butler. Nice coverage by Kiernan Spate, the sophomore from Washington, step for step with the receiver.
Spate that time on the post route made that throw be perfect, and even if it was perfect that time, I think he would have been able to get a hand. See the inside technique he uses on the play, and then he makes the throw be wide and high, and he was going to be able to stick his hand, and then smartly didn't stick his hand out there on that play.
It's been a busy quarter for Lytle. Missed the series because of a knee injury, came back, did all but 1 pass. Needs to get to the 39 here, and a tough catch, if at all possible, for Jake Hofer. That'll bring up 4th down. and a punting situation for Pitt.
At least they were, you know, they had to touchdown the series before, but they struggled early in the half. But this time they were able to at least get a first down to put themselves in position. And now a punt by one of their best players on the football team could back up BC. They need to establish again that good field position they had early in the first half.
Cochran gets that over Collinette. Kieran Spate with the deep back is going to let it hit. Pittsburgh has a chance here, and they put BC in a huge hole all the way back at the 1.
That's exactly what they were trying to do. Get a stop back there and put BC in real tough territory where they couldn't use the whole offense.
I guess when you have given up so many points, your punter gets a lot of practice, but Cochran is one of the better punters in the nation. Now Boston College has the long field to go. They had this last week against Syracuse, their first drive, and they went down the field 98 yards in a near-perfect drive to score a touchdown. Here the situation's a little more dire. They trail by 7 early in the 4th. Flag is down as Walker gains a couple of yards. Usually in that offside spot, the officials are discussing.
You just don't know if they lined up offsides, illegal formation, or what.
There's no foul. Correct number of players on the line of scrimmage.
Oh, geez. That's embarrassing. Well, uh-oh, never mind.
Of course, on the offensive side, Boston College, you have to have a certain number of players at the line of scrimmage, and often with so many tight ends offset, it may be difficult for the side judge or line judge to tell. Only a couple for Walker, 2nd and 8. Walker is stacked up, not much room to run.
Official on the opposite side is going to throw the flag this time. Stacked up is exactly what's happening inside. The Pitt defense is stunting just enough. I think it was Chavis again that hit that play right in the mouth and nowhere to run.
Officials having a tough series.
Illegal formation on the offense. Decline. 3rd down.
I don't know what was illegal about that formation.
Neither does Dan Henning.
That did not stick out. I usually can get a good feel for those things, and that looks normal to me.
3rd and 10 for a BC offense that has been in neutral most of the night.
Oh, what a throw.
First down to Anthony DeCosmo as Hasselbeck got leveled before he released the 16-yard
He absolutely did. Only 2 receivers out that time, and Oriskovich, I believe, is a guy who's really having a problem from the outside. He is going to get pressure, and as he lets this ball go through, you'll see him rip the ball and gets catered on the play, and that is a nice throw. There was no more than 1.5 feet to throw that ball, and he put it right in the hole. That is a beautiful throw.
And Oriskovich is shaken up behind the play. The senior offensive lineman, this is a homecoming of sorts for him from Swickley, Pennsylvania. We're here in the Pittsburgh area. Of course, this is such a fertile area for high school football talent. Get here, and the newspapers are full of the Western Pennsylvania playoffs. The #1 team in the nation in high school football, DeMond Gibson, one of the starters on that Pittsburgh defensive line. So as they tend to Oriskovich, we'll step out for a minute. BC picks up a big 3rd down. They're down 7.
It's equal parts sweat and steel. It's decisions made in the split of a second. And pain endured for the length of a day. And at the finish, you're either toasting victory or getting set to do it all over again next week. It's auto racing, the way we do it on the Miller team.
My owner's a very caring owner. He takes very good care of me, normally, but he's not a real mechanic. Sometimes he slips up and he buys me a lower quality gasoline. But I know that he cares because every so often he pours a little bottle of that Techron concentrate, and that always cleans me out and gets me running well again.
Techron concentrate from Chevron. Just ask your car.
Perhaps even more impressive than pure, unbridled power is the ability to harness it. Sierra by GMC, putting you comfortably in command.
ESPN's presentation of college football is brought to you by AXA Insurance and Investment. AXA, go ahead, you can rely on us. And by Sierra, by GMC, putting you comfortably in command.
Yes, Sports Center is coming up, but we still have plenty of time here. 13:44 left. Pittsburgh leading Boston College 13-6. Get a look at Dan Ariskovich, who was helped off after having his foot fallen on. He's out. Andy Mitchum replaces him at left tackle. And on first down, Hasselbeck to Omari Walker. Walker gets about 7, maybe 8 yards. Very productive game as a receiver for Walker. His 5th catch on the night.
Coming from the outside, the right side for Hasselbeck as they go with the screen. Marlon Young, he's the guy who put the pressure on last time. Well, the reason I pointed out, Mike, is neither you nor I had him on our charts, and we looked at the whole depth chart yesterday. He wasn't even in first, second, or third team, was he?
Sophomore, he was not. The sophomore out of Miami, Florida, has come in, made his presence felt. Walker does a nice job to get to the sticks, beating Ernest Coakley, the Pitt linebacker, and should be a first down for the Eagles.
Yeah. Walker did a nice job of getting right to the sticks, knowing where he was that time and picking a first down. And the play that Hasselbeck made out of the end zone, throwing that ball, and now starting the march right here, getting it outside the 20. This is when your quarterback really earns his keep, making that throw, and now you're out there breathing a little bit. Now you've got the whole offense you can run.
The junior from Norfolk, Mass, Matt Hasselbeck, leads him out first and 10. Steady diet of Omari Walker, the last 3 touches. Hornak got a little shaken up on that play, and you can't afford to see injuries in that defensive backfield, a knee that already has given him problems.
Yeah, Hornak, if he gets hurt, they just wave him back out there. No, you just stay. You got to go.
Drive started back at the BC2. They've moved it out about 30 yards. 4th straight for Walker. Omari Walker bounces it outside. To the 44, John Jenkins in on the stop after a 13-yard pickup. Walker continuing to pile up the yardage now.
I'm not sure who did it, but Jason Chavis, number 56, gets held big time this time. Right in the middle. Right there. Watch this block in the middle of your screen. Dragos is going to get Chavis and then just pulls him down. He's got his jersey almost off on the play. Nothing is called.
Omari Walker, 130 yards and a break after his 28th carry. Mike Cloud is in. Hasselbeck finds the tight end, Pollard. Hasselbeck does a nice job buying time for himself.
He really did. We saw it earlier in the year when they played against Virginia Tech. He's very calm when he breaks the pocket. That's what he does best. He did it against Hawaii in the game, and he brought the team from behind to get his starting job. And when he leaves the pocket, he doesn't panic. He's not scrambling now to run. He's looking for another guy to throw to, and those are the most dangerous quarterbacks. When you flash him out of the pocket like that, he even gets better, and he's turned a rough start into a pretty good football game here.
Very solid second half, just 3rd down plays as they get closer to the end zone. Play action, look out. Oh, Hasselbeck eludes Coakley. Just gets it downfield and away, and he got leveled after he threw as well.
Yeah, he eluded Coakley once, and then Coakley eluded him from the football that time on the way back. I thought Coakley was going to force the fumble right here. And, you know, we're a ways away. Did he drop it and pick it back up? He did. Look at that. That ball hit the turf, got it back up, and calmly, Hasselbeck says, nobody open. Let me get rid of this thing before Coakley finds me dead.
And he did. 3rd and a yard. Walker pounds it on the right side. Somebody lost a helmet, and the first down is picked up.
Remember, this drive started, what, 2-yard line. Not bad. Controlling the clock, picking up some yardage.
Mark Norrie's headgear who came free as Walker ran right behind him. Buckle him up tighter, Mark.
Yep. Follow that rolling headgear. That might be a way to...
Coach, what do I do? Follow the pulling guard? Nah, that's just the helm. 1st and 10, Boston College, trailing by 7 in what is a must-win if the Eagles want to entertain postseason hopes. Bust again. Chased by Graham. Hasselbeck. Gains about 7 or 8 yards.
All-out blitz again. Nobody open downfield. Again, Boston College is keeping an extra player in to help on these blitzing situations. But this time, Graham is coming free. And again, Hasselbeck so calm in the pocket, this time really realizing that man-to-man coverage is downfield, he can run for it, and Graham was just a little quicker than Hasselbeck, or he had a huge play.
Cloud now in the backfield for 2nd and 2. Mike Cloud, the sophomore, has the first down. And out of bounds at the 31. Curtis McGee on the tackle and Dr. Gary Punch on the sidelines.
Good news for BC fans, Michael. Dan Aristovich starting offensive tackle. Apparently a bruise or a mild sprain of the right knee. Dr. Diane English, a team orthopedic surgeon for Boston College, examined the young man. His McDavid knee brace actually took most of the blow, was bent about 45 degrees out of shape. Once they cut the metal knee brace off, the knee felt much better. That protected the ligaments, and now he's getting his pants back up, the brace put back on, and should be back in the ball game very shortly.
Getting the pants back on just before the camera gets there is the key.
That's amazing. The knee brace turned 45 degrees.
I've seen that a lot of times. Guys just bend those things and sometimes even snap them like that.
You ever have to put your pants on in front of a national audience?
Haven't had to do that.
1st and 10, Boston College, 13th play of this long drive.
You don't tell the receiver when he's going by you what to do when it doesn't mean anything.
Hasselbeck for the tight end, Pollock, who hangs on.
Another throw. I just had to laugh. Quarterback Hasselbeck stops Harding and tells him, make sure you run this route. You're not going to hand the ball off of that thing. That's equivalent of the quarterback licking his fingers when he comes out of the huddle. This time, watch the throw. Hasselbeck is really feeling comfortable throwing the ball now. You just can't throw it any better than that. Puts it right on the money that time. And a drive that continues. Last time they got in this situation, they had a 5-yard penalty. Remember, 1st and goal?
They have struggled in the red zone tonight. 1st and goal, Boston College. Mike Cloud bouncing off tacklers, and Coakley finally wraps him up after a gain of a couple. Remember what we said at the start of this drive. BC's opening drive last week started at their own 2, and they went down the field 98 yards to put the first points on the board. Here they're trying to put the tying points on the board.
Number 7, Matt Hasselbeck, is the guy who really lifted his game for this drive. I mean, he has made 2 beautiful throws, and he scrambled twice on this drive. 4 for 5 he is. And the one miss was a throwaway.
Play action. Nobody open. Hasselbeck just throws it out of the back.
That's his 2nd throwaway. He just has a feel for the game. It's an unteachable instinct for quarterbacks. Some of them just have it. Hasselbeck has it. That you really can't teach a guy when to throw it away, when to scramble. You can go all through those chalk talks forever. Some guys just have it, some don't.
Well, I mean, he may have become a better quarterback at that aspect of the game from what's happened this year. Sacked an average of 5 times a game.
You know, when you have toughness and mental toughness, which he has, you can become a good quarterback.
16th play of the drive. It is 3rd and goal. Pressured by Coakley and brought down. Another key 3rd down pass rush by the Panthers.
Not only was there pressure, there really wasn't anyone open again. Good coverage and good pressure. That equals something good for the defense this time. Now,
what do you do here?
Let's see, 8:06 to go. I probably would go for this. Well, you still a touchdown puts you to overtime now, and the overtime rules. Why not go for it?
They're 0 for 2, as you see, on 4th down tonight. This time they've got to go to the end zone. Intercepted! Rashad Whitmill, his second of the night. Not only the pick, but much better field position.
That was a big play. 4th down as a quarterback. Let me tell you, you're thinking. You're willing to gamble a little bit more. Because usually in this situation, what do you feel is, hey, I got to throw the ball. There's not going to get another down. He tries to throw it wide. Whitmill cuts under the receiver. Remember, he is matched up against a tight end. A corner on a tight end. That's an advantage right there in speed. And he was just too quick that time on the outside on Todd Pollard.
Not only does Whitmill have 2 interceptions in the red zone.
Yeah. Those should count double, right? Why not?
And they're 0 for 3 inside the 20 tonight. No points. Schulter's the tailback. Collinette throws him back after he banks out a couple. And the Pitt defense, boy, you guys have reason to mug for the camera after the season they've had. Turning BC over 3 times. Let me ask you just a fan question here. It's 4th and goal. You said you want to try to make a play. Do you have to throw it in the end zone on 4th and goal?
Well, I think you have to try to make a play no matter what. If the guy catches that ball and Whitmill cuts underneath him and misses it, he turns and runs into the end zone. I don't think you really have to do that. I think you have to make the big throw. I don't know how happy Dan Henning was with that because it looks like he's got Mutrin warming up. Don't quite understand it. That was a nice drive by the quarterback.
Schulters turns the corner. Dwayne Schulters all the way to the 32-yard line. Brought down by Pedro Serino. 28-yard pickup for Schulters.
Jake Holford that time was the wide receiver downfield, Mike. Watch him signal to Schulters to cut behind me. Here's Holford right here in the middle of your screen. When he sees Schulters break, watch him say, I got him, cut behind me. I'll make the block, and he gets the block. Good team play.
Longest carry of the season for Schulters has Pittsburgh at the BC 31. And time is now becoming a huge factor against the Eagles. The fullback West, who has the tailback speed, just tripped over the 25-yard line almost, or else he may have gone the distance.
That might have been the best call of the game. I really like that. They've been running wide. They've been running the tailback. And this time, they take it right up the gut. A little bit of a quick trap, an influence quick trap that time. One guard pulls away. The other guy comes and cleans it. That was well designed.
Johnny Majors on the sidelines. Offensive coordinator Ken Karcher upstairs. Utilizing Billy West's speed and quickness as a runner here tonight.
And he's done a good enough job blocking to survive at fullback. I think that's been a good change for this Pitt offense. It's given them another weapon.
Schulters. Ryan Reckley with the pad-popping stop just at about the 20. It's been an interesting week here at Pittsburgh, especially in the athletic department. Johnny Majors has a year left on his contract as he moves those sticks on this 1st down. He's come back to Pittsburgh with a record of 10 and 31. They have not been able to turn this program around as much as they had hoped. And a new athletic director was hired here on Monday, Steve Peterson. Peterson and Majors know each other from their Tennessee days. Johnny hired Steve Peterson as a recruiting coordinator. West again, the fullback. On 1st down, they get down to the 17-yard line.
Went back to the same call they hit on the short trap a while ago. This time a little better defense. But it's an influence trap. You'll see one guard pull on the play, and the other come and kick out on the play. One guard pulls, the other guard comes. You should crease it. Actually, if West would have had enough confidence to hit that one full speed, he could have probably popped it. Again, still new at the position, doesn't quite have the feel yet at the fullback spot.
but right near his season average, which is 4.9 per game. Pittsburgh, a time-consuming drive, 5th straight run, and Schulters carries tacklers with him close to the 10. As we move in on 4 minutes, and a field goal here, and it's a 2-possession game for the Eagles.
And you're exactly right, and it's exactly what I was going to point out, and that's why I think you'll see the play calling be a little bit more conservative in this situation. You do not want to throw away 3 points with a mistake by your quarterback.
And to that end, the Panthers here on 3rd and 1, obviously 3 tight ends.
Wouldn't be surprised they run that play to the right side of the screen that they scored the touchdown on when Billy West leading. There it is.
And Schulters picks up the first down, Spates trying to rip the ball away. Finally does, but after the whistle, apparently. Yes, it was. It is 1st and goal Pitt with 3:45 left. Pittsburgh, a double-digit underdog, leads by 7.
Same play that they scored the touchdown. Billy West comes in, leads on the play on Recky that time, gets just enough, but forward progress was stopped, and that was a good call. Very good competitive game. Not well played in the first half, much better execution in the second half.
3rd time this season, Schulters is over 100 yards. BC, remember, burns a timeout. They have only 2. Schulters, touchdown!
That's nice, huh? Johnny Majors goes over, shakes hands with Gary Nord, telling Ken Karchner, I like the call, I like the execution. When we do it right, things will work. Billy West leads up, Schulters feels the hole back, cuts back, and he looks like a keeper at tailback, doesn't he?
He is a junior. Both he and West are juniors. They've really made adjustments, and you see that Billy West sacrificed for the team. Yep. Moved to fullback and done a nice job.
A lot of kids are way too interested in what they want to do in this situation and aren't willing to sacrifice for the team. Billy West did it.
And Dwayne Schulters has 2 touchdowns. Pittsburgh leads by 2 touchdowns over Boston College.
Call it strength. One of the world's largest insurance and investment groups. Call it trust. $300 billion in assets under management. Call it global. 56,000 people working hands-on in 23 countries. Call it vision. Give clients an even better chance in a changing world.
Call it AXA. Here you know us as the Equitable. AXA. Go ahead. You can rely on us.
With Sierra's strength and exceptional power, life's daily obstacles are easily handled. But with Sierra's 3rd door, you will have one less hurdle to overcome. Sierra by GMC. Putting you comfortably in command.
And now, from Paris, from Milan, from St. Louis.
Introducing a new look from Budweiser. Born on dating. It's the day your Bud was born, because fresh beer tastes better.
Nice label.
Thanks.
Minnesota battles Orlando Pace and offensive powerhouse Ohio State. Saturday at 12:30, only on ESPN2.
Scott Mutrin has been warming up the entire drive, the entire commercial break. Looks like he will come in when BC gets the ball down 14 after Pittsburgh. I mean, just exactly what you'd ask for, Gary, a time-consuming drive.
Yeah, they did. You know, the turnover, I think Dan Henning makes that call and says, you know, the worst I'm going to come out of this is Pitt is going to get the ball on the 8-yard line. But the big play from the quarterback, and it's Ben Whitmell, he's had 2 of them. You said in the plus territory, the red zone, 2 interceptions. That's been the difference in this football game.
And that return on that other interception, Gary, put Pitt in nice field position, and they ran the ball down BC's throat.
Yeah, BC has been in the red zone, and they're going to kick themselves for this. They've been there 3 times, 2 turnovers, the 2 interceptions, and 1 missed field goal. That's not a good night. 0 for 3 in the red zone. For them, a lot of coaches like to call it the green zone. Tonight it's been the red zone for BC. They've been stopping.
And seeing red. Chris Burnett's kickoff is short. Fielded by Cedric Washington. Knocked down at the 28-yard line. Here's Dr. Jerry.
Hey, guys, we can't leave Pittsburgh without visiting a Steel City tradition just down the Hilton Stadium. Permanente Brothers. Boy, the toppings here on sandwiches aren't just mustard and ketchup. Take a look at Killer Katie back here, our sandwich artiste. Now, that's capicola and cheese. Let's watch Katie. Here come the fries. Mash them on there, Katie.
Oh.
What's next? Okay, tomato and slaw. Oh, such skill. Mash it down there.
Okay, what's that?
Right. Fresh homemade bread on top. And that big boy.
You think that's under
guys,
600
this
calories?
This is a real Pittsburgh sandwich.
Oh, man.
Scott Mutrin in at quarterback and throws the incompletion to Anthony DeCosmo. It'd be a hard sandwich to grab a hold of. Yeah, like see the mouth that can fit that sandwich in. Gosh.
Well, I know one guy that could do it.
Would that be Mr. Karsten?
Yeah, Mr. Karsten can handle that. 2 of them. He'll say 2 to go. Jerry's handling it.
Oh.
Yeah. Do a good job with it.
The sideline trademark. Nice catch by DeCosmo, who just held onto it with his fingers. 17-yard pickup. Jenkins knocked him down, but Matt Hasselbeck, well, he's got to be frustrated. This is almost like the Hawaii game where Hasselbeck came in to replace Mutrin at quarterback.
Yeah, except that I feel, Hasselbeck made the 1 interception on a poor throw. I thought the first interception was a poor throw. The last one, he forced it a little, it was a 4th down, but he had a nice drive to that point. Sometimes, though, you get benched for something that doesn't really point out that did he make a wrong call? Was he not supposed to throw to that guy? You have to trust the coach in that situation.
Mutrin looking good thus far. Passes to Todd Pollock, but the clock continues to move, and we remind you again, Boston College, 2 timeouts.
Pitt will give up the short pass in these situations now. There's no doubt about that. Woo, one hopper.
In front of Dennis Harding, the sophomore. Mutrin out of St. Ignatius in Ohio.
You can see the plays being signaled in there. Eric Olson, I believe, is the guy who's doing it all day.
Olson, who lined up as a punter and had a key fake punt against Navy.
I know, it's a big one, huh? He's a disaster quarterback.
See Hasselbeck and the figures he put up tonight. They try to run, and Omari Walker is stopped by Ernest Coakley from Pittsburgh. But it's a first down that stops the clock and moves the chains with 2.5 left, and BC will get right back to the line of scrimmage. 457 yards for Boston College and 6 points tonight. Knee down, so no advancing Scott Dragos after he gains about 5 yards. Full 2-minute drill here. BC's hopes obviously to score and onside kick. Look out, Mutrin has to step away from Jared Miller. Throws on the run, and Pollock once again gets BC into the red zone at 17.
Mutrin, to win the job against Hasselbeck, has to be a pretty good football player, because you can see how good Hasselbeck is moving around in the pocket. You see, this is not your typical backup quarterback. This guy originally was the starter.
Timeout call, and I believe Pittsburgh took that timeout to regroup, so that helps Boston College. Driving, not out of it in the last 2 minutes.
I'm from the north side, but I did better at Don Allen.
I'm from Mount Washington, and I did better at Don Allen.
It's true. You'll do better at Don Allen. Better on the special edition 1997 Buick Riviera. They're specially ordered, and they're priced to save you more than $5,000. With $19.95 cash or trade down, you can drive this car for just $389 a month.
I did do better at Don Allen.
The $389 a month Buick Riviera. You will do better at the big Don Allen Auto Complex, Baum at Liberty and Bloomfield.
People
magazine calls Millennium far and away the best new show of the year.
The killer's gonna be hard to catch.
You can't ask me to pretend that I don't know what you do.
What happened? Bruno! The 1,000 years is over!
What is the group then?
But you're the right man for this.
Millennium, from the creator of The X-Files.
You can't stop it.
This is only a test for the debut of ESPN News. Tomorrow at 7 p.m., we will interrupt our regular ESPN programming to bring you the special
shake-up in...
That guy could use a lunch break, though, couldn't he?
We should send him the leftovers from Jerry Sanders.
Get one of those sandwiches.
Boston College has changed quarterback. Scott Mutrin in for Matt Hasselbeck. Mutrin has led them down the field, back into the red zone where BC is 0 for 3 tonight.
The quick screen formation, here it is.
And Omari Walker just gets a couple of yards. Frank Moore did a nice job reading it, the defensive lineman from Cape May, New Jersey.
Any completion that doesn't pick up a first down is probably a play they wish they wouldn't have completed. Time is just as important as yardage.
Confusion on the Pittsburgh defense.
Tight end wide open. Again, see, that was a poor throw right there because it's going to cost them time. A good throw right there would have just ran that tight end for a first down, and now they're going to be forced to run a play and pick up the first down. On third down, they're going to have to run a running play.
Third and about a yard. Again, Pitt trying to get the right personnel on the field. We move inside a minute, and Omari Walker scores.
Big play. That would have cost him another 10 or 12 to 20 seconds if he does not pick up that touchdown on the play.
On the play, BC back in the game, and they go over 500 yards tonight.
This is a play that was just designed to get a first down, to let him throw a little bit more, but Walker runs through a couple of arm tackles that time. Probably the first time the whole game that Pitt did not tackle well, and they throw it into the end zone for another touchdown.
And we remind you, Pitt missed an extra point after their second touchdown, so this John Maddox PAT makes it a 7-point game with 70 seconds left.
And we will, with 2 timeouts left, we will, I think, still see the onside kick. Either way, they can get, by using the timeout, they can get the ball back.
Dan Henning used to be in the NFL. NFL Countdown, Week 10 on Sunday. Boomer and the boys. Joey T is going to talk to Jerry Rice before the Niners Saints. The no-name defense of Dallas doing big business indeed. Washington perfect in the red zone this year. And who are the Packers going to throw to now? NFL Countdown, 11:30 a.m. on Sunday. Here it is Pittsburgh leading by just 7. Matt Hasselbeck has been benched. And we mentioned the Hawaii game. We go back to it. BC was down big in the fourth quarter on the islands, opening the season late on a Saturday night on ESPN2. Hasselbeck replaced Mutrin, came in, led the team to a score, get the ball back. Maddox kicks the game-winning field goal, and Boston College escaped. Had the long flight home be a little more pleasant, winning 24-21.
Yep. Sometimes Scott knew. We interviewed him the week after that. He knew he might not get a chance again, but he would be ready when he did.
All the people with good hands, the receivers, the tight ends, up close for Pittsburgh. Got to wait for it to travel 10 yards, and it does not.
Boy.
Huge break for Pittsburgh.
Got a little fancy that time. The play was to try to fake they were going to kick the ball to the right, and he kind of squibbed it to the left, and the squib didn't go 10 yards. Watch, he approaches it, looks like he's going to kick it one way, and then he kicks it back, and it just curves, has a little bit of English on it, and it never gets across the line, and now a minute 10, they have 2 timeouts left, so if you run 25 seconds off that clock right there, you're down to under 40 seconds in the game.
So Pittsburgh takes over at the BC 41, leading by 7. Almost exclusively running the ball last drive. Schulters on the delay. BC's obviously going to take their best shot at pulling the ball away. Chilton's inside the 35. BC able to finally get the clock stopped with 1:01 remaining. Boston College timeout. They have 1 remaining. Pittsburgh faces 2nd and 3, showing some muscle tonight.
Perhaps even more impressive than pure
Never let me say.
College has just 1 timeout left. The importance of this game. You see the Big East standings. Pittsburgh looking for their 2nd conference win, their other one over Temple. Boston College, if they lose here tonight, must win their last 3 games to be eligible for a bowl. Now, that's no guarantee, even though there are 4 bowl spots in the Big East. You may say, I thought, Mike, 6 wins get you to a bowl. You have to have a winning season, and since they played the extra game in Hawaii, it must be 7 wins. Schulters delays and gets stacked up. Bobby Edmonds the hit, and BC gets the timeout a little quicker as 6 seconds runs off the clock. Last timeout for BC.
Last timeout for them, and I think you'll see another running play by Pitt. Wouldn't even be surprised if you might do something where you fake the ball and let the quarterback keep the ball and see if you can get outside and maybe pick up a cheap first down in this play. Nothing spectacular is going to be called.
And Lytle has good running ability.
Yes.
Neutron just hoping to get his hands on the ball. Well, tomorrow night, big night. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, presents the debut of ESPN News, ushering in a new era of sports news. 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 7 Eastern, simulcasting the first hour on ESPN right here. And make sure you call your local cable operator or satellite provider. Get hooked up with ESPN News. It all starts tomorrow night. For Stalin Collinet, the Boston College Eagles, their season and their hopes of a postseason may end here tonight in Pittsburgh. They have moved the ball.
Yeah, they have. Those 2 costly turnovers is why you pull your hair out, or in Dan's case, why he's gray.
BC, remember, took over on their own 2 with 14.5 left in the game. Moved it 89 yards, and then the interception. Here's 3rd and 5.
There's the quarterback coming out wide.
And Lytle is very close to the first down. That spot looks like he got it, and if he did, it will be a Pittsburgh win.
See, you don't even risk a handoff in that situation. You take time, you run outside, you tell the quarterback anything close, you get down and there. And I don't even know, he realized he did not want to go out of bounds, and if you got the first down, great.
Great call, Garrett.
Great call. Not by me, by the staff.
Pretty good one by you. First down, and barring a miracle, John Majors has won his 3rd game of the season here at Pittsburgh.
If there's a miracle in this game, I'm leaving the booth. This game's over.
More on the Pittsburgh story of this week as Billy West and Schulters have a chance to win.
Yeah, what a wonderful win for Pitt. I mean, these kids have been through so much. You know, losing 72-0 on national television to Ohio State, they've come back and worked their way through it.
The new athletic director, and speaking with Steve Peterson, who takes over here in Pittsburgh on December 1st. He's coming over from Nebraska. Because he hasn't discussed the future with Johnny Majors, just wants to see the season end on a proper note. But this new era gets off to a great start on national TV thanks to 2 interceptions from that man, Mr. Whitmill. Pittsburgh hands Boston College a devastating loss as the Eagles fall below 500. Don't go anywhere. The Sports Center is coming up next. Keith Olbermann and Kenny Mayne are standing by. A lot of news from Major League Baseball today as the Hot Stove League gets fired up. And the story of Bill Mallory at Indiana. The Sports Center is coming up in just a moment. For Gary Danielson, Dr. Jerry Punch, and all the women and men who make college football happen on ESPN, I'm Mike Tirico. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Good night from Pittsburgh, where the Panthers beat Boston College 20.